on the Sleep Number Limited Edition Smart Bed. Limited time. For JD Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
The forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Lots of sunshine here for your Friday with comfortable conditions. A bit breezy at times. Today's high 79. Mainly clear, quiet, and crisp. Overnight, a low of 57. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey, 93 WIBC.
71 and sunny on Monument Circle. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, August 9th, 6 minutes after 9. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So based on the story that came out in Indy Star and also Mirror Indy, things are really heating up within the Hogsett administration. You know, it's been reported that he decided to retain his top aide and keep him in power. This after at least one woman came forward and alleged him of inappropriate behavior towards him. The Republican caucus has now come out and said if these allegations had been taken seriously in the beginning, multiple women could have been protected.
Okay, these Republican guys, though, are full of it. I heard Brian Mowry on, I think that's his name, was on with Tony Katz this morning. And Katz asked him right out of the get-go, like, you know, did you know about any of this? Had you heard about any of this? And he said, no, I knew nothing about any of this. My question is how that's possible. Because James Briggs told us when he was on our show, who did the original reporting along with Haley Colombo from Indy Star, he said, I've been working on this story since 2017. Remember, he said that to us. They've been working on that story since 2017. And most of us in the media had heard the rumors about Thomas Carl Cook. Anybody who had an interaction with Thomas Carl Cook knew what a greaseball he actually was. How is it possible that you had a reporter working on a story for all these years, you know, just people in the media like us had heard things, heard rumors, and yet this guy who was in the government, was on the city county council, goes, me know nothing. This is the first me hear of anything. Really? What are you doing with your time? This is not some obscure peasant working in the mayor's administration. Everybody knows this guy was basically the de facto mayor.
Well, they do make a point. They say that had these allegations been properly handled or investigated, it leaves thousands of city county employees questioning if they're safe in the workplace.
Yeah, but wait. No. I'm not letting these Republicans off the hook with this. Look, the Republican Party in Marion County is totally inept. It's a complete zero suck factor. They have no power in the city government. They hold no citywide offices. I don't think they hold any countywide offices. The congressional race is a joke every single time. The Marion County GOP is completely inept. And Tony asked Mowry on this and pressed him on this. Okay, let's accept that, which I have no idea how that's possible, that this guy who is a city county councilor could not have at least heard something. I'd heard it. Again, it's like the same argument with Holcomb doing the me so stupid routine on Jamie Knoll. If I'd heard the stuff, how does his best friend not know about it? So in the case of, just give me just a second here. In the case of these Republicans, this is why you are a party of nothing, because I don't believe for a second they hadn't heard something. If they hadn't, a bigger pox on all their houses. And Tony pressed Mowry on this, you've had 3 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever it's been since the Indy Star piece came out. What have you been doing since then? The answer appears to be nothing.
Okay, so Hogsett is claiming that there was an investigation back in 2017 about this. And later in the show at 10 o'clock, we're going to be joined by Ryan Martin, who is one of the authors of that article that came out in Mirror Indy. And I'm going to ask him if he has seen any paperwork, any details, anything about that investigation at all. Because Lauren Roberts has been asking for something. She said she wasn't interviewed by anybody and no one told her about any investigation or reprimand. So I'm really curious if one actually did take place.
Well, let's kind of reset what actually took place here. So there may just be somebody tuning in. I think most people by now know, but I think it's important to reset what took place and why it's a story. So Thomas Carl Cook was the right-hand man to the mayor. He was the deputy mayor. He was basically running the show. It's believed in many cases he was actually running the city of Indianapolis, and he is alleged now in multiple pieces, one by Indy Star, one by Mirror Indy, to have used his position of power to force multiple women into positions, sexually related positions they did not want to be in. He made them uncomfortable. These women have alleged, and there appears to be evidence to back this up, that they reported it to many avenues, including the mayor of the city of Indianapolis. It was reported on multiple occasions, and nothing, absolutely nothing was done about it. Now, the question is why? This is the question everybody should be asking, because Thomas Carl Cook being a sleaze bucket, that's its own story. It's its own thing. But it's a story because he was in a position of power. It's not that the guy had a tumultuous personal life. That's not why I'm interested in this story. People's personal lives are their personal lives. It's that he was utilizing his high-ranking position in the city of Indianapolis to make people do things they did not want to do and put them in positions they did not want to be in. That is why this is a story.
Okay, so Fox 59 caught up with Mayor Hogsett, and they asked him about this, and here was his answer.
Mr. Mayor, you want to talk about Thomas Cook and the way you handled those complaints?
I think everything has been said.
Well, no, as a matter of fact, everything hasn't been said, and the fact that the way you handled those complaints and allowed Thomas Cook to continue in city employment or be connected to your campaign, what would you say to that?
Every time a complaint was made, it was turned over to my legal team. It was fully investigated. Sanctions were leveled, and he no longer works for me.
Did you comply with sexual harassment ordinance that was adopted in 2019?
Yes, I did.
When's the last time you underwent sexual harassment training?
Okay, so he said right there that it was fully investigated, but then he brought him back.
All right, so now there's the second part of this story, which is the guy, allegedly did the thing. There appears to be a ton of evidence supporting these women's accusations. But then there's the other side of this, and it's probably the bigger part of the story, which is that the actual mayor himself clearly knew this was going on. There is electronic evidence that it was reported to him through multiple avenues. There is audio evidence that it was reported to him. He knew the allegations against this guy. Apparently, they took them serious enough that eventually the dude, he technically resigned, but it's very clear he was run out. And so the question that everybody should be asking is, why did Joe Hogsett refuse to do anything about this guy?
Yeah, what was the motivation?
Joe Hogsett, Chuck Brewer was a terrible candidate. Jim Merritt was a fine candidate, but had absolutely no resources behind him whatsoever. And Shreve also was a joke, right? Joe Hogsett has never had competition running for mayor. There was never in doubt that he was going to, from the first time he won to the 2 re-elections, going to be the mayor of Indianapolis. Why did he keep this guy around? He didn't need him. It wasn't like he needed, a David Axelrod type of team behind him to orchestrate some incredible. The city is 60% Democrat. It's almost now impossible to lose a county-wide election in Marion County because of gerrymandering, because of the flight of people out of Marion County to the suburbs that are Republican-minded. It's almost impossible for him to lose. So the question is, and this is what everybody should be asking, is why did Joe Hogsett refuse to do anything about this guy? My theory on it is, Casey, would you like to hear my theory?
Absolutely.
And if Joe Hogsett would like to refute this theory, he's more than welcome to come on this show and say, no, here's why I didn't do anything. Joe Hogsett's a dumpster fire as a person.
Well, it's proven that he's a terrible leader between everything from the COVID response, the Indy 11 treatment, and now these allegations. It's clear.
Yeah, he's a horrible mayor. He's also a dumpster fire as a human being. And everybody knows what I'm talking about, and everybody knows all the stuff that's out there on him. You don't think Thomas Carl Cook knew all of it in intricate detail we could only begin to imagine about? You don't think this guy who was with Hogsett through everything, do you think Thomas Carl Cook doesn't know exactly where Joe Hogsett was during the riots?
Well, and the fact that when Cook left, the city was in business deals with him, continued to work with him.
So you have a guy who's the right-hand guy to the mayor, who has orchestrated all of his, mayoral wins. He's clearly got a close personal relationship with the mayor. He's basically, in many cases, the de facto mayor on a variety of issues. And he knows, and this is probably most important, he knows everything about the guy. So if you're Joe Hogsett and these women are coming to you and people are coming to you telling you about this guy, what are you going to do about it? Well, you can't fire the guy. You can't publicly shame the guy because he has more than enough information to sink you. So this is why nothing got done with this. Joe Hogsett knew exactly what this guy was, but he could not, in many ways, he could not get rid of him. He could not publicly reprimand him. He could not publicly shame him because everything that they had on him, he had it right back on Joe Hogsett.
Okay, so now Lauren Roberts and Caroline Ellert, they have released a new letter, and they're demanding widespread changes from the Hogsett administration. They're citing failure and inaction by the mayor and his team. It'll be interesting to see what they actually do with this letter, if they do act on anything or if they just run away from it like they have been. And I'm also very curious, as you mentioned, James Briggs from Indy Star has said that he's been working on this since 2017. Why has it taken so long to paint the full picture of what was going on behind the scenes?
Well, okay, so and I know we got to get to a break here, but there's two sides of this. From a reporter's perspective, and I thought Briggs and Haley Colombo did a really good interview with us, and I've no doubt Ryan Martin will as well coming up at 10:06. They can only go with the information that they can prove, right?
Yeah.
And so that took people coming in on the record,
right?
Which it sounds like that it took many, many years to get these women to go on the record as to what they're doing. You and I get this all the time where somebody will say, hey, you should look into,
yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I don't have 90 free hours to just go digging. If you'd like to give me some definitive thing to start with, then I can start asking specific questions. Great. We get this all the time.
And we've talked about this before, that investigative journalism is a very expensive part of journalism.
Right. So, the media is doing only what they can do based on what information they're actually given. But there is no way. I mean, you look at the emails, you look at the audio evidence. There's no way Hogsett didn't know exactly what this guy was, what he was doing, and not only, and we'll get to a break on this, not only did he keep him around, but then he brought him back. He was rid of him. He got him out of there in 2020. He technically resigned, but he got him out of there and then brought him back in 2023 for his re-election campaign against Jefferson Shreve. Hogsett can't plead stupid on this. He can't plead ignorant on this. He knew what the guy was, and the question is, why did he keep bringing him back?
You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
No one from the Indiana Republican Party is going to demand Joe Hogsett be fired. No one from the Indiana Democratic Party, which claims to actually care about women, although they can't define it, they're not going to demand Joe Hogsett be fired. And if you want to know why the story matters, the Republicans on the council don't know how to speak up. Cowardice is not something that should be rewarded with your vote. And silence leads to the death of a city and a soul. And we shouldn't be those people.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Close your eyes and picture it. The warm sun on your face. The sound of waves lapping against the shore. What if I told you that feeling of summer relaxation could be yours all year round? At Howard Bailey Financial, we specialize in retirement planning that lets you embrace that summer state of mind every day. Imagine knowing that your future is secure. With our expert advisors, we'll craft a personalized retirement plan tailored to your dreams. Whether it's traveling the world or pursuing your passions, we'll ensure that your retirement is as carefree and fulfilling as a relaxing summer afternoon. Embrace a summer state of mind and text SUMMER to 888-494-5004 to download our complimentary retirement toolkit and experience your retirement planning with confidence.
This endorsement was not provided by a client of Howard Bailey. This individual was compensated for this endorsement. For more information, visit howardbailey.com/TSY.
Your Indiana State Fair is here. Join us to celebrate the best of summertime.
Join us tomorrow for a full weekend of sunny skies and State Fair fun. Top off your weekend with over 100 free things to do. It's the greatest value of summer. Grab tickets at indianastatefair.com.
Enjoy the sounds and sights at this year's fair, where there's more to see and do than you ever knew. Celebrate the art and nature of fun, presented by Newfields, August 2nd through 18th. It's only here, but once a year.
Hey, Donald Trump Jr. here. Central banks are buying gold at record amounts, and the trend is accelerating in 2024. They see the writing on the wall. The dollar is failing. Is gold the answer for you too? To find out, get a free info kit from Birch Gold Group by texting the word SHELTER to 989898. That's shelter to the number 989898 to get your free info kit from Birch Gold, the only gold company I trust right now.
Message and data rates may apply.
The Indiana State Fair is back, and so is American Dairy Association Indiana's renowned Dairy Bar. From August 2 through 18, celebrate your State Fair visit with this year's Dairy Bar featured treats: the Blue Ribbon Blueberry Milkshake, the Hot Honey Pepperoni Pull, and the Melty Mess. And while you're at the fair, be sure to visit the Ag Hort building and welcome the Cheese Lady, Sarah Kaufman, plus Nancy Baker back to Indiana. During the early days of the fair, Sarah and Nancy will be turning over 1,000 pounds of Pace Dairy cheese into a gigantic cheese sculpture you won't want to miss. The Dairy Bar, the giant cheese sculpture, State Fair Traditions, August 2 through 18. See you there.
Brought to you by American Dairy Association Indiana, your Hoosier Dairy Farm families. Find out more at wintersdrinkmilk.com.
Isn't it amazing how she went from one of the least popular vice presidents to now killing it in every single poll? There's a new poll that came out that says Kamala Harris has taken an 8 percentage point lead over Donald Trump. This is from the Marquette Law School. Hey, they're doing polls. Everybody can do a poll now. We could take one in this room and see how she's doing.
You don't believe that for a second, do you? 8. You think Kamala Harris is 8? What, this is going to be Reagan 84? Like, she went from the most popular vice president, the least popular vice president in American history to running away with the presidential election in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Does
That's what
that?
they want you to believe. So this does include third-party candidates, and she, according to this poll, is leading likely voters with 50% to Donald Trump's 42%.
Oh, I see. Now, I think there was some issues with the polling sampling size. Now, look, you can get a poll to say whatever you want it to say. Are there serious problems with Trump's campaign? Yes, absolutely, which is why for months I've been begging. And remember how mad people got at me when I was like, you need to talk about issues. You need to stop talking about the people because you're not going to be running against Joe Biden. So you need to talk about collectively the Biden-Harris administration and how they collectively have destroyed this country. And remember how mad people were getting at me during the Republican convention that I was saying you're not talking about issues. You're not focusing on the things that matter. There's too many shenanigans. There's too much. Boy, who? Hello, hi. Hi, boy, that would sure come in handy right now. I mean, look, Trump has major issues with this campaign. He's not down 8 points. There's absolutely no way.
Okay, so he had his press conference yesterday, and he talked about a lot of different things. But one, he had a press conference where he took questions and was able to answer them. But now there's this whole debate fight that is happening. And according to Donald Trump, he has agreed to 3 debates.
With all of that being said, I think it's very important to have debates, and we've agreed with Fox on a date of September 4th. We've agreed with NBC, fairly full agreement, subject to them, on September 10th, and we've agreed with ABC on September 25th. So we have those 3 dates, and those networks, they're very anxiously awaiting that date and those dates. So we have September 4th, September 10th, and September 25th. We have spoken to the heads of the network, and it's all been confirmed, other than some fairly minor details. Audience, some location, which city would we put it into, but all things that will be settled very easily. I think it'll be very easy. The other side has to agree to the terms. They may or may not agree. I don't know if they're going to agree. She hasn't done an interview. She can't do an interview. She's barely competent, and she can't do an interview. But I look forward to the debates because I think we have to set the record straight.
Okay, so earlier in the day, she was saying that she was not going to debate in the 2 debates scheduled by him, that she was only going to do the September 10th one.
Madam Vice President, Donald Trump agreed to 3 debates. Will you be participating in all 3?
I've always been on record. I am looking forward to debating Donald Trump, and we have a date of September 10th. I hear he is finally committed to it. I'm looking forward.
What about the other 2?
Let's make sure we get this photo of everyone. Look right here, right
So it'll be interesting. Will he be standing there alone?
Well, and you look at her, and part of you says to yourself, there have to be enough people left in this country with enough common sense to look at her and say, we cannot turn the country over to this. Like, we just can't. I mean, come on. You may not like Trump, and nobody's, we're super critical of Trump on this show, but you can't. She's an idiot. I mean, like just listen to how she changed. There's nothing genuine about her. There's nothing legitimate about her. She changes her accent. She changes her tone based on what, city she's in. She has no core convictions whatsoever. She's been caught lying many, 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 many times about just stupid stuff. She's been an abject failure as a prosecutor, as an attorney general, as a United States senator, as the vice president. Like, what has she accomplished that you would say, man, I really want this person running my country? You can't tell me what that thing is. What is the signature accomplishment of Kamala Harris? And I would hope there are still enough people who would look at this woman and go, no, we're not turning the country over to that. This is where we draw the line.
Well, she's been presiding over 4 years of misery in our country, and then says that with her presidency, she's going to bring back the joy. She has been in office with Joe Biden, and magically, when she becomes president, she's going to change everything. Do it now. What is holding you back from making change now?
Well, and again, I cannot believe. I mean, does it make any logical sense? Like, just remove the politics from the equation. Don't say it's Kamala. Don't say it's a Democrat. Just whatever. So this person was the right-hand woman in this case to a president. Everything this president was doing was wildly unpopular. Her own personal approval rating is wildly unpopular. But then she gets elevated to the main position, and all of a sudden she becomes wildly popular. Like, logically, does that make any sense to anyone?
We haven't liked her all this time. She hasn't been successful all this time, but within a matter of 2 weeks, it's almost like she's being propped up by the media.
What?
Did you see this OnlyFans model got a tattoo on her forehead, a Trump tattoo?
No.
On her forehead. And it's not a little tattoo. It's very big. She's 21 years old.
What's her name?
Her name is Rain Monroe.
Rain Monroe.
She calls herself Trump Girl. She uploads a bunch of videos on Instagram, and she's got 16,000 followers, and she got a Trump tattoo on her forehead.
Oh yeah, there it is. Oh yeah, it's like block print.
Yeah, it's not little.
Why would you do that?
That's my question. Why would you do that?
I mean, it's all the way across her her forehead. And why do people do that? Like, I mean, tattoos are tattoos, but right across, like, why? The rest of your life. I mean, I don't know how old she's 21.
21.
Okay, so Donald Trump is 78. I mean, I'm not trying to be crass here, but Donald Trump, relative to your 21-year-old life, not long for this world, right?
Right.
And so
she calls herself the most savage girl on the internet.
Oh.
And the comments are pretty funny. I love when women come with warning labels. She's going to have to walk around with that on her head forever. And well, she could get it removed, I guess, but that's expensive and painful.
I mean, this
as well.
is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen, Casey.
Yeah. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
We all have people in our lives we interact with. Maybe it's your favorite barista, a neighbor who waves to you every morning, a coworker you grab lunch with, or maybe it's me, the hairstylist you've gone to for years. What if you learned I had a substance use disorder? Would it change how you see me? It's okay to see the addiction, but when you choose to see the person, not just their disease, it can help change someone's life. Learn more at cbeyondtheaddiction.org.
Hey, Mom. Yeah? I can't tell my mom. She'll never understand. How was I supposed to know he would share it with the whole school?
You can't help what you don't know. Tell the teens in your life they can talk to you about what's happening online.
Hey, you know you can tell me anything, right? No matter what. Okay, I need to show you something.
Learn more about online safety at on.in.gov/ICAC. A message from the Indiana Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, sponsored by the Indiana State Police.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
They want a peace deal. Radar is clear, 71 and partly cloudy downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. Diplomats with the U.S., Qatar, and Egypt are all calling for a peace deal between Israel, Hamas, and Iran. But that may be easier said than done.
Israeli forces wasting no time as they await a possible retaliatory strike from Iran and its proxies. Israeli forces also carrying out a deadly strike on Hamas command and control centers said to be embedded within 2 schools. And in southern Lebanon, the Israeli Air Force overnight struck more Hezbollah infrastructure. But as more time goes on without a response from Iran, there are multiple reports Tehran might be reconsidering.
Fox's Jeff Paul reporting. Hollywood's video game actors are still on strike after 2 weeks. SAG-AFTRA, which also represents about 160,000 performers, is seeking the same protections against artificial intelligence that are also given to on-camera celebrities. Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. Our first decline since the bad Monday this week. The Dow is down at 38 points at the opening bell to 39,563. The Nasdaq down 72 to 18,449. And the S&P 500 is down 11 to 5,336. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number Limited Edition smart bed. Limited time. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Dear driver, thank you. Thank you for slowing down when you saw the orange cones and road construction signs. My husband is one of those road workers. And today, you saved his life. If you hadn't slowed down, you would have missed that lane change, driven right into the work zone. And you would have killed him. Because you were driving differently. He'll be at our son's Little League game this weekend. He'll be there to walk our daughter down the aisle. He'll be out there tomorrow, making Indiana's roads safer. Thank you.
Everyone deserves a safe place to work. When driving in construction zones, read the signs. Slow down. Save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Indiana's District Council of Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
I'm embarrassed to say this. I've been using deodorant on my armpits for 30 years, and anytime I noticed odor anywhere else, I thought I needed another shower, I wasn't clean, or I felt like there was something wrong with me. And then my gynecologist told me about Lumi. It's a whole body deodorant for pits, feet, and privates that controls odor anywhere and everywhere on your body. Since Lumi, I never have to worry about body odor ever again, anywhere on my body. And that reassurance is worth every penny.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code SHOWER and get 15% off your first purchase with code SHOWER, like the Lumi Starter Pack, Acidified Body Wash, or new Lumi Plus Sweat Control. That's LUME deodorant.com, code SHOWER for 15% off your first purchase. With over 200,000 five-star reviews, I am so sure you're going to love it. Or return it for free with Lumi's 60-day money-back guarantee. That's LUME deodorant.com, code SHOWER to save 15% today.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
So you know how we were talking about how Robert Kennedy Jr. said that he picked up that dead bear cub in Central Park and put it in his car?
Uh-huh.
Well, he's now come out and admitted another bizarre confession.
Oh, no.
Yeah, this time he says that he does it all the time. He was asked if picking up the roadkill of the bear was a one-time thing, and his answer was, I've been picking up roadkill my whole life. I have a freezer full of it.
What?
Yeah, he said that he has a freezer full of roadkill.
Okay, everybody's got their quirks in life, and, you know, my thing is always, you live your life, and you let me live mine, and, you know, as long as we don't kind of you don't impact me and I don't impact you. You kind of just, for the most part, we'll do our own things. I'm going to judge him on that.
Okay.
I mean, what, you see a dead deer by the side of the road and you say, hey, that could be a snack come November.
That's some good venison right there.
I mean, you're Robert Kennedy. You would think he would have enough money to be able to just go to the store and buy what he'd like to buy. You wouldn't think he'd need to preserve a deer with a limb chopped off because it got run over by a Ford truck.
I can understand if there's maybe a dead animal in your cul-de-sac and the kids are riding the bikes up and down the street and you don't want the tires running over that mess. So you grab the shovel and put it in the trash or something like that.
Keyword, there's trash, Casey, not your freezer.
Right. But he's saying that not only does he's been doing it for a long time. He always does it, and he puts roadkill in his freezer. What is he saving it for? Is he saving it?
I don't know.
I don't know. For the fur, to take it to a tannery? Is he going to consume it at a later date? And is he such an expert that he knows how long it's been there? Like, isn't there kind of a
there is something
expiration date?
Well, look, the Kennedys are a very screwed up family, and I think we can all kind of say that, and everybody will nod along and go, yes, that's right. But the behavior of this guy and he just cops to these things without. I mean, nobody would have ever pinned him down on, did you dump a dead bear in Central Park? He volunteered that information, right? Like, just it's not like somebody was grilling him on it. Now, the thing with him refusing to deny that he sexually assaulted someone, I mean, at least he got asked about that, I think, didn't he? He got prompted to answer that question. But the thing with the deer, it's like, what are you? Why?
What do you mean, the bear cub?
Yeah, yes, I'm sorry. The thing with picking the dead bear up and then just dropping it in Central, do you think that endears you to people? Do you think that makes you more likable? Do you think that makes you more of a regular guy? Why? I mean, I get we're in a world where, because he was telling the story to Roseanne, right? For some reason, him and Roseanne are friends now. I thought she was a Trump person, but anyway, I guess they're friends now. And maybe he's in a world where I've got to do something to garner headlines. I've got to do something to try to stand out, to get my name in the news. And in the cycle we're in now, even bad news is news, and people will know your name. So I'm just gonna start telling everything about myself. I don't know, but that is a very bizarre thing to admit that you do. I mean, you are not Granny on the Beverly Hillbillies.
So I guess he tried with the bear cub story. He was trying to get ahead of the story. He said, looking forward to seeing how you spin this one. Like, I'm just going to be honest with you. Here's my side of the story. That way you can't put words in my mouth. You can't try and recreate it. This is my angle. This is what happened.
Well, but on one hand, you do have to give the guy some level of credit to say, hey, the guy is kind of doing what we have said we wanted to do, which is for people just to be kind of candid about their entire existence. But it's on things that don't in any way apply to the presidency.
Running the country?
Right.
I've been picking up roadkill my whole life. I have a freezer full of it. Okay.
And there are people who do that, and that's fine.
Don't invite me over for dinner.
Just
seriously, Roseanne had him in her kitchen. It wasn't the other way around. She would have been like, no, I'm good. Let's do this at my house.
Your friend Courtney says in the YouTube chat, it's a real thing. I grew up in Du Bois County, and yes, you hit a deer. A friend hit a deer. That boy was getting picked up for processing.
Right. That's one thing. You hit a deer. You knew that was fresh meat. You take it in.
Oh, so your thing is not that it was a deer that had been run over. It's a deer that you didn't run over. That's where you draw the line?
No, it's a deer. Like, how long was it sitting there?
Oh, that's your
before
thing.
He picked it up. I've been picking up roadkill my whole life. Like I said, what's the expiration date? One that has flies and maggots flying on it that's been there for a few days?
I get that times are tough, but I think I'll just keep paying the enhanced price of meat. Wouldn't you? I mean, just
Yes, I would.
Thank you.
Clearly, I would. And I'm not opposed to, venison or any of that, but I just think it's odd that he would say, I've been picking up roadkill my whole life. A little clarification there.
Sure.
Maybe. But Joe Rogan has come out and said that he is going to be supporting Kennedy.
That's just what they do. That's politics. They do it on the left. They do it on the right. They gaslight you. They manipulate you. They promote narratives. And the only one who's not doing that is Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
You a fan?
Yeah, I am a fan. Yeah, he's the only one that makes sense to me. He's the only one that he doesn't attack people. He attacks actions and ideas. But he's much more reasonable and intelligent. I mean, the guy was an environmental attorney and cleaned up the East River. I mean, he's a legitimate guy.
This is why no one with an IQ above 7 takes Joe Rogan seriously. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is a complete environmental radical who literally on camera advocated for putting people in jail who did not agree with his view of the environment. He's not just some environmental attorney. He is some totally radical leftist who I have not seen, other than on issues of medical privacy and freedom, viable solutions that he is willing to put forward to fix basically any issue in this country. This is why fewer and fewer people are taking Rogan seriously. We talked about the decline in Rogan's numbers because he says stuff like this, which is just ridiculous.
Isn't Rogan, he won't interview Trump, will he? He's interviewed Kennedy.
Is it he won't interview Trump or Trump won't go on with him?
Oh, well, it could be that way. But he's picking a guy that isn't a viable candidate. He's not going to win.
I'm the last guy to say, well, unless you absolutely are certain your guy's going to win, you shouldn't pick that guy. I mean, I support libertarians, from time to time that I think are running good campaigns or I agree with or protest of the Republicans. It's not that. Kennedy's fine. He's going to be on the ballot in all 50 states. It's just the logic. It's the logic behind it, and him acting as though he's some sort of deep thinker who's really put his mind and studied this, and then he's acting like Robert. In all of his research, he just found Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to be some well-meaning environmental attorney. No, he's a total advocate for incredible government intervention, incredible government mandates, incredible cost along to the citizens, and he wanted to put people in jail, Casey, who don't agree with him.
Okay, so what's the possibility at this point that Kennedy's going to drop out of the race?
Why?
You don't think so?
He's on the ballot.
He's going to keep going?
Why would he already went all that? Why would he quit?
I mean, he's indicated that he would prefer Trump over Harris. So I'm wondering if he'll drop out and endorse Trump.
No way. There's what possible reason would there be for? He already went to all that effort and cost to get on the ballot. He clearly enjoys the publicity based on the fact that he's admitting to dumping dead bears in Central Park and picking up roadkill on the side of the highway to Roseanne or whoever he admitted that to, but he admitted the bear, I think, to Roseanne. I mean, the guy's clearly enjoying seeing his face on television. All of these people, including Trump, are complete narcissists. He's not getting out of anything.
Did you see the story about David Copperfield, the magician? He's accused of completely trashing his $7 million condo in New York.
Well, it's his house, right?
It is his house. He's got the 54th floor of an apartment. He bought it in 2018, and apparently the HOA is a little upset with him. He had some plumbing work done, and it's made life for the other residents not so great.
Wait.
There's been some issues.
Wait. You have an HOA in a building that just goes straight up, and everybody like what? I mean, you don't have a yard. What? You can't leave a trailer out in the driveway, or you can't put a basketball hoop, in your cul-de-sac. What does an HOA do in a $7 million? You tend to think everybody if you're putting $7 or $8 million into a place you live.
I use the word HOA. It's a condo board.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you kind of think
there.
people, if you're putting that amount of money, you'd kind of police yourselves, right? I mean,
he's done. Apparently, it's being alleged that his plumbing work that went bad has caused $2.5 million in damages. And his unit, his condo unit, has been filled with classic arcade games. He's got some fortune-telling machines and also hazing devices that were used by fraternities
Okay,
during the turn of the century.
Okay, so here's what the lawsuit says. On a cosmetic level, the state of Copperfield's unit plainly violates the requirements under the condominium's bylaws that all units be kept in a, quote, first-class condition and a good state of preservation and cleanliness. However, the level of dilapidation and decay in Copperfield's unit far exceeds a purely cosmetic issue. Okay, so let's work through this real quick, and I know we got to get to a break. I get it if it's like and I would never live in a place with an HOA ever again, but I get it. Like if you live in some nice gated community that the outside of your house has the ability to impact everybody else's property value potentially. So the exterior of your house, you got to keep up. But inside the thing, what does that bother anybody, what he does with it? It's the inside. It's a condo. It's inside. Nobody's like seeing the outside.
Yeah, I mean,
Who cares?
he can decorate it however he wants. He can put whatever he wants inside of it, keep it as clean or not as clean as he desires. But I guess it's the fact that he had this plumbing work done that damaged other units in the building.
That's its own thing, right? That's something that, absolutely should be addressed, whatever. But the fact that they're mad he's got too many arcade games or what, it's in the inside. Who cares what he has on the inside? I mean, it's his. If he wants to
do what you want to do.
Yeah, right. Just leave the guy alone. But the plumbing thing, if you're screwing up other people's plumbing or apartments in some fashion,
He's a magician, Rob. Can't he get this fixed? Can't he snap his fingers, twinkle his nose?
This is why I never lived in an apartment complex, Casey. Of all the places I lived, I never lived in anything that didn't stand on its own because I didn't ever want to have things like this happen to me.
Yes, based on someone else's mistakes.
I have lived in a couple of duplexes in my life, but it was its own thing.
You shared a wall?
Or one time I did share a wall. The other time there was a garage in between. This is why I wouldn't want to live with or around other people because stuff like this happens, right?
You know what, Rob Kendall? I think maybe the feeling's mutual. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, what's the takeaway from Trump's press conference, and when do we start taking away jobs from the Secret Service? That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Summers in Indy are great, but don't spend it painting. Do what your neighbor Don did. He called Rhino Shield.
Well, the home was built in 1948. Paint on the aluminum siding was peeling, and I couldn't find anyone who would repaint it until I called Rhino Shield.
Rhino Shield's better than paint. And the crew?
Painted all my aluminum siding, and I've got a front porch that runs the whole length of the house and all the pillars. And once they were gone, I couldn't even tell that they were there.
And right now, you can get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 10% off the regular price. Plus, there's more great news. Rhino Shield has partnered with Green Sky Financing to offer affordable monthly payments with 0% interest loans to qualified customers.
Well, I've told a lot of people, do the Rhino Shield. It's really a great product, and that would be the way to go.
And here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
Call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint. Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
David was in big trouble with the IRS.
At first, I didn't owe that much, but after this year, it was out of control.
Then David called Get a Tax Lawyer.
Right away, they were like, oh yeah, looks like you're qualified to save.
Get a Tax Lawyer went to work.
Should have called way sooner.
Get a Tax Lawyer has helped thousands like David fight the IRS and get a fresh start.
Call 800-745-3070. That's 800-745-3070.
Did you know your life insurance is an asset you can sell? I'm Jay Jackson, CEO of Abacus Life. For almost 20 years, Abacus has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like you. And at abacuspays.com, we've created a free policy value calculator so you can find out the worth of your policy in just seconds. There are no fees and no obligations. Get real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus. Learn more at abacuspays.com.
Addiction. It's hard on those who struggle with it, but those who love the addict need support too. Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick provide help and hope with Supporting Sobriety. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on WIBC.com.
Okay, I'll ask. I'll bite.
Okay.
What do homeowners associations actually do that you're like, man, thank goodness that HOA was there.
Well, it depends on if you live in a condo complex, a townhouse, or like a subdivision. They'll do different things based on the dwelling.
Because we're getting a lot of response from this last segment. If you're just joining us, Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. That's Casey. We were talking about how David Copperfield is apparently in some sort of litigation. He lives in a giant, high-rise.
It's a multi-million-dollar condo.
Right, but it's in one of these things like you live in that goes straight up in the air. Now yours is a standalone thing that goes straight up in the air.
Right, there's no one above me or below me, but there are people next to me.
And he's being sued over a variety of different things for his upkeep of his condo. And so we're getting a lot of correspondence from people. Carl, who's Tony's producer, he lives in Carmel, and he said basically his homeowners association fees are like $1,000 a year.
Okay.
Do you know what you've got one, right?
Yeah, mine's $160 a month.
A month?
A month.
Well, what is that? That's public school math here. So remember when they said you'll not always have a calculator in your pocket?
Yeah.
12 times 160. You pay almost $2,000 a year. You have no grass. What do you pay for?
Do you remember when I first moved in and we've got that postage size yard and we got the letter saying that your grass is dead, and we were like, we're not even unboxed yet. Hey, that was the previous owner. We'll get to it.
Stephen Whitmer is in your. He's running in your district, right, for a house. He's in the YouTube chat.
Yeah.
Whitmer, can you guys pass a law that's in the city to ban just abusive homeowners?
HOAs?
What are you paying for?
Okay, so they take care of all of the outside maintenance of the building.
What? You don't have a yard?
Well, they do the snow shoveling, and they cut the grass, they trim the hedges, they re-mulch.
For $2,000 a year, Casey, I'll do it for $1,500 right now. Boom.
And
I just saved you $500.
Okay, so there's signage to the entrance of the place. They upkeep that. They'll do
what's
any
the
of
sign
the...
say? Now leaving the war zone area. You just downtown Baghdad that you just previously drove through.
Now entering the war zone area. And they'll make sure the street lights are working. Any sidewalks around the complex area, like if there's a cracked cement, they'll come in. It's not my responsibility to do that.
It sounds like a giant scam.
There's parking. They'll make sure, there was a car that was broken into.
It sat there, didn't it, for days?
It did sit there for a day.
So clearly they weren't all over that one.
They did come up and clean up the broken glass and everything, so...
But they left the car there.
Well,
some herald just came and picked up the glass and left the Nobody was like, we should check to see whose car this was.
Well, I mean, think about, okay, so how often do you cut your grass? Once a week? Twice a week?
Once a week.
Okay. So if you were to pay someone to cut your grass, what would you pay to do that?
But why would I pay? I'm knock on wood, I'm a healthy, able-bodied 40-year-old man. It's exercise. It costs me maybe $2 in gas to cut my grass.
My point is, what would you pay somebody?
But you don't have any
grass. $30-40 a week.
You don't have any grass to cut.
Well, collectively, all of the postage stamps together, I think, creates at least part of a yard.
This snow thing is such bullcrap. It snows one time a year to where in Indiana now, maybe twice, where you would need somebody to come in and actually plow the one stretch that runs through. I mean, my point on all this is...
You're right. What am I getting paid for?
What are you paying for?
They'll paint the exterior of the building when that needs to be done.
To what, 20 years?
Yeah.
Well, didn't your thing just get built a couple of years ago?
It did. It was built in 2018.
Haven't you heard the saying, don't paint, don't vinyl, call Rhino?
They're responsible for anything exterior. So if something happens to the roof or our balcony, they take care of that.
I will never, ever, never, ever, never, ever, 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 never live in a place with an HOA. I did for a couple of years of my life. Every time I'd pay that thing, it was like $500 a year. What are we paying for? I mean, it's the one that's snow shoveling. Isn't that what I pay taxes for? Isn't that part of where my taxes go? Should be to have the roads shoveled. And if you're going to, like they've decided to do in Warehouseburg, put a high-density housing development on every corner, shouldn't you factor in snow shoveling as part of whether we should do that or not? I mean, we're basically bailing out bad decisions by the government. There's a commons area. There's a pond. We didn't have one, but a pool. What are you paying for with these homeowners associations?
The upkeep of the exterior and the area around it. No, I don't like it either. You know what happened in our house in Granger This is fantastic. There were people who weren't paying the HOA. They were just like opting out for
What happened?
For a long time.
Because they're always like, well, we could put can somebody who's in the government let me know? Can they actually put a lien on your property? Can the HOA actually declare if you don't pay it? Because that was always the threat. If you don't pay it, because I asked them one time, I was like, what about them? We'll put a lien on your property. Can they actually do that? I mean, they didn't have anything to do with me buying the house. Can they actually put a lien on my property?
I know that the
Or
new
is that
president,
bullcrap?
the new president came in and he started publicly shaming people who weren't paying.
Well, that wouldn't
he was
affect
naming
me at all.
names, like trying to embarrass them into paying. Like, Mr. So-and-so, you haven't paid your HOA in 5 years. You owe $6,000.
I would be fascinated to hear from our audience if you are in an HOA, how that experience has gone for you. 317-684-8444, 317-684-8444. If you live in an HOA, if you think that whatever you're paying, you're getting your money's worth for what you're paying.
How do you get out of it, too? Like, I guess for me,
Like the mafia, you die or
I'm
you move.
stuck, right? Like, I bought the joint. That was part of the deal.
Why did you buy that place?
The HOA.
Why? You're such a smart person. Look around you. Did you not do a walking tour of the general vicinity around where you bought?
Very close to where I work.
Yeah. And the extra 5 minutes, if you'd have moved a little further outside of the greater downtown area, I think you'd still been okay.
Yeah.
Explain to our audience.
Yeah.
So Casey lives in the actual area Casey lives is very nice. Like the house, what are they, high rises or whatever they're called, are very, very nice.
Yeah.
But the general area, like as in everything around you,
Like once you leave it.
like you would just sprint. You sprint wherever you go.
I'm not afraid, Rob. I don't live my life in fear. I'm okay with it.
You sign an agreement when you buy your house, so yes, you're bound by the agreement.
Yeah,
but my
you're
question
bound
is,
by it.
can they actually put a lien on my property?
Yeah.
Or can I just laugh at that agreement?
Yeah. Not you. Well, not me. I'm stuck now.
Ryan Martin from
Yes.
Near Indy is going to join us next.
Yes, it's going to be amazing to hear what he has to say. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
The hot summer and the hot deals are coming at Tom Roush Lincoln. 0% for 60 months is back. Get 0% APR for 60 months on every new 2024 Lincoln Navigator. Plus get an additional $4,000 off MSRP. You can also take $3,000 off every new 2024 Lincoln Corsair 70 available. So get in here for one of those hot summer deals at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
For well-qualified buyers with approved credit. Not all buyers will qualify. Taxes and dealer fees extra. Stock number L24401. MSRP 107425. Stock number L24284. MSRP is 43435. See dealer for complete details.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. JD Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. For JD Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
It's happening. Indiana is investing in our hometowns. Statewide, each region selected the local projects most important to our quality of life. And with the help of Indiana Ready Grants, real progress is all around us. A $3 million Ready Grant is helping build our new Shelby County Early Learning Center. By early December, local toddlers will have access to high-quality care and education. A $250,000 Ready Grant for a new Decatur County ADA Accessible Inclusion Park will allow all our children to play and grow and thrive. It took bold thinking and working together to put Ready into action. And there's more to come. Learn more at IndianaReady.com. That's IndianaReadi.com. Brought to you by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. ForTheBold.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes, the Republican wants Democrats to help with an investigation of Mayor Hogsett. Plus, Sasha Nixon reports on a Brownsburg man who is back in prison and a tailgate debacle regarding a parking lot near Lucas Oil. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers studios after Fox News. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
Another death blamed on Debbie.
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. It is the 8th one since hitting Florida as a hurricane Monday. A woman near Greensboro, North Carolina, killed when a tree fell on her. This as Debbie's remnants move quickly north, full of rain that could cause even more flooding.
Rain is much heavier compared to where we were at earlier this morning. So we're getting completely drenched here in the Harrisburg.
Fox's weather's Katie Byrne in Pennsylvania's capital.
I've already seen some people talking about on social media that they have reports of trees down in their neighborhoods here in the Harrisburg area.
Debbie's remnants will go to New York and New England next. Israel's forces have moved back into the Gaza city of Han Yunis, targeting Hamas militants in tunnels amid a renewed push trying to stop the war.
A joint statement from the leaders of the U.S., Egypt, and Qatar called for Israel and Hamas to continue talks next week following the killing of Hamas's leader. A spokesman for the National Security Council says the new leader, Yahya Sinwar, is a terrorist with blood on his hands, but has been a chief decision maker when it comes to ceasefire negotiations.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz, a third suspect, been arrested in Austria linked to the terror plot that canceled 3 Taylor Swift Vienna concerts. He's an 18-year-old who had pledged allegiance to ISIS. Vice President Harris and running mate Tim Walz will rally today in Arizona. Fox's Griff Jenkins reports from the White House.
What we're all watching is whether or not she'll at least continue to gaggle with the press. Now, yesterday, she did end that 18-day media blackout with no interviews, no press conferences. She answered 5 questions, just 77 seconds with reporters on the tarmac.
And that was mostly about debating former President Trump and doing media interviews.
She can't do a news conference. She doesn't know how to do a news conference. She's not smart enough to do a news conference.
That was the former president during a long Q&A with reporters at the Trump Resort in Florida. He's pushing for 2 more Trump-Harris debates beyond the one set for September 10th. The former president will campaign today in Montana. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
He wants an investigation. Radar is clear. It's partly cloudy, 72 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. The Republican caucus of the Indy City County Council wants to investigate the claims of sexual harassment against former Deputy Mayor Thomas Cook. Caucus leader Brian Mallory says they want Democratic help.
In my conversations with some of my counterparts on the other side of the aisle, they are interested in doing something similar to this as well.
Democrat candidate for governor Jennifer McCormick releasing a statement this morning calling Mayor Hogsett's apparent failure a systematic problem that demands a systematic solution. A car stolen from near the Indianapolis Motor Speedway yesterday. That car had a child in the back seat when someone drove off with it near 12th and Tibbs. It wasn't long, though, until police got calls about where the car was. The child is okay, but no arrest has been made. Selling drugs while on probation. That's why a man with an already long criminal record is heading back to prison. Sasha Nixon reports.
According to the Department of Justice, Scott Plenelp is now facing 12 years behind bars. Officers say he sold meth at least 3 times in June of 2022 while he was in a program for a prior trafficking arrest. After prison, he will face another 5 years of supervised release. Sasha Nixon, 93. WIBC Mobile News.
A little stress for some Indianapolis Colts fans looking for a spot to tailgate this upcoming season. Jeff Shriver was told recently that the parking spots he paid for at a lot south of Lucas Oil were no longer his. It's over a lawsuit concerning back rent between the lot operator, Gate 10, and the Colts, but Shriver has been in a tough spot with it.
At first, we just got told that they didn't have these spots available for us, and we had to go down about 3 blocks.
Talking to Wish TV. Lucky for him, though, the lot's new operator, iPark, says they will honor his purchase with Gate 10 if he shows them the receipts. The Colts begin their preseason slate with a game against the Denver Broncos at Lucas Oil Sunday. Kickoff at 1 p.m. Listen on our sister station, 93.5 and 93.5, 107.5 The Fan, as well as 97.1 Hank FM. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Whatever happened to Tony Horton, the guy who created the revolutionary P90X?
2017, I was knocked down. A very rare type of shingles that went straight into my brain. My body was completely wasting away. I started researching everything related to building my muscle back again. That's when I learned about the potential of HMB plus vitamin D3 and what they can do when it comes to helping build new muscle.
So Tony developed high-impact protein by Power Life.
Just add 1 scoop of high-impact protein to a glass of water or your morning smoothie and enjoy the effects of that boss molecule and factory worker combination. reshaping your body each and every day. More energy, burn more fat, and probably drop a few pounds along the way.
High-impact protein by Power Life is a tasty once-a-day powder that comes in either whey or plant protein. Go to mypowerlife.com and use code TONE to save 30%. Tony even offers a 90-day guarantee. Go to mypowerlife.com or text TONE to 511-511. Text TONE to 511-511 today. All individuals are unique. Your results can and will vary. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC, it is the Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. Casey's here, and obviously much of the conversation the past couple days has been about that incredible story from Mirror Indy, a follow-up to the Indy Star piece on Thomas Cook, the former number 2 longtime right-hand man to Mayor Joe Hogsett, the allegations of inappropriate workplace behavior made by these women, and then the maybe bigger part of the story is what appears to be Joe Hogsett's refusal to do anything about it.
Yeah, he decided to retain his top aide even after he was aware of the complaints.
So let's get more details on what happened and kind of how the whole story came together. One of the people who put the article together, very fabulous piece in Mirror Indy, Ryan Martin, joins us now. All right, Ryan, so I'm curious, how does a story like this come together? Just very high level. Can you kind of give our audience, a little behind the scenes about how you put such an important piece like this together?
Hi, yes, and good morning, Rob. Good morning, Casey. Thanks for having me on. In a nutshell, a story like this only happens with the strength and courage of women coming forward to share their stories publicly. And it's often a very long process. Sometimes it takes years for people to think about what happened to them and sort of see it in a new light. Oftentimes, these kinds of experiences are happening to them when they're in vulnerable positions. A lot of that's described in the story, where the women were at those times in their lives. And our job as journalists is to listen and to, also corroborate what they're saying. And it's kind of an uncomfortable process for them. And truthfully, they often try to, in this case, and, I've reported on this type of behavior in the past, they often try to fix the problems from the inside first. And when that fails, that's when they go to the media. That's when they start talking to journalists. And that's when, someone like me starts working on an article like this.
Ryan, we talked about this yesterday, and to me, it's not whether Thomas Cook had a tumultuous personal life or what he did while he was married or whatever. Everybody on their worst day, if you took every single person on their worst day and said, this is the worst thing you've ever done, people would go, oh, that's not a good look. It's the fact that this guy was in the government. He was clearly the gatekeeper to Hogsett. He had immense power in the city. And based on your reporting and then the reporting done by Briggs and Haley Colombo before this, it appears he was utilizing that power to get people to do things they were uncomfortable with.
Yeah, I think you really nailed it by saying power, because yes, this is a story that involves government officials and public money. That, of course, makes it newsworthy, makes it concerning to people like the three of us on this call. But anytime someone is in a position of power and authority like that, and they use it to victimize people, anytime they abuse that power to create harm, that's where we need to step in and try to find a way to stop it. And, and as we detailed in this story and as detailed in the Indy Star investigation a few weeks ago as well, there were efforts to try and get people in the highest levels of government to intervene, to stop it. And those attempts went unheard.
Ryan, I'm curious, did Caroline and Lauren come to you or did you go to them?
I don't want to get into all of the details of that, sort of the early reporting process. Just this dates back several months. And one of the things that was important to us at Mirror Indy is just to make sure that we could get all of our reporting together to make sure that what we were going to publish was just absolutely true and rock solid. And we wanted to give Lauren and Caroline and the other young woman we talked to who's not named in the piece because of fears of professional repercussions, we wanted to make sure that they had enough time to share their stories in full. You both have asked a couple questions about the process of reporting this out, and I know that when readers are looking at the story and trying to assess, like, okay, what happened here? Just how bad was it? And in truth, trying to understand like what was the extent of the damages that occurred. Part of that process requires people like Lauren and Caroline to share a lot of information about their personal lives that's really uncomfortable with journalists. Text messages, emails, voice memos, letters. And I give a lot of credit to them for doing that, for putting all of that out there for us as we reported on the story.
Ryan Martin is our guest. Fabulous new piece over at Mirror Indy about, again, the allegations involving Thomas Cook, the former longtime right-hand man for Mayor Joe Hogsett, and what appears to be Joe Hogsett's unwillingness to do much, if anything, about it. Casey, go ahead.
Ryan, I'm curious, are you surprised at the length of time it has taken for the full picture to be painted?
Yeah, I think I am surprised because we're talking about nearly a decade here. And, you know, one of the kind of at the start of this process, you know, I was working on this with local government reporter Peter Blanchard and art director Jenna Watson. The three of us were working on this article together. We created a very lengthy timeline for our own reporting purposes to try and connect all of the dots to make sure we understood who knew what when and what, if anything, did anyone do about it. And the earliest we could find was in 2017. Lauren Roberts came forward and emailed Joe Hogsett's personal Gmail and did not receive a response. She told us she didn't receive a response. We asked the mayor if he responded. He did not answer that question, but we saw the email. She also forwarded it to several other people in and around his orbit, both on the campaign side, city side. There were other Democratic officials she forwarded the email to. She was trying to raise the alarm on what happened to her in 2014 and 2015 while she was working on the mayor's campaign, his first campaign.
Ryan Martin.
This kind of.
Yeah, I was just going to say, go ahead, Ryan. I was just going to say, Ryan Martin is our guest. He's got a fabulous piece, part of numerous people who put this together over at Mirror Indy about the alleged behavior involving Thomas Cook, longtime right-hand man to the mayor, also the mayor's unwillingness to do anything about the alleged behavior. Ryan, one of the things I was going to ask you was, look, you obviously had 3 or 4 people working on this. We saw with Indy Star, there were a couple of people working on this. There have been sort of these upstart, new media outlets like Mirror Indy in the city of Indianapolis and central Indiana, which has enabled more bodies on the ground to cover these sorts of things. How important has the new media been in doing this sort of journalism to bring these things to light? Because it does take so much manpower.
Yeah, well, we didn't launch until December, so we're still kind of young, a young upstart. Of course, a lot of us have worked in the local media space here in Indianapolis for a number of years. I worked about 8 years over at the Indianapolis Star, most of that on the investigative team. And, the truth is more when it comes to journalism. We want to make sure that at Mirror Indy, we're filling news gaps. We're contributing to the amount of journalism that's produced here. We want to make sure that more stories like the one that we're told this week get told again.
Brian, I'm curious. At one point, Lauren said she wasn't interviewed for any investigation in 2017. Were you able to find any details out about that investigation that Hogsett is saying took place?
We weren't able to find out much, to be honest. That's one of the real things that I wish the mayor would have agreed to an interview or at least answered some questions about it. Or we also reached out to a campaign official and, she responded to us but didn't give us very much information. But basically, we know that we have copies of the emails, like I said, that Lauren had sent. And we know that the mayor said that he immediately notified his legal counsel. I'm not sure who that is in this case.
Were you provided any documentation on that?
No, we have requested some documentation, but in this case, it would have been an investigation conducted by the campaign, not the city, and I'm not sure what public documentation we would be entitled to receive. Of course, they could voluntarily share it if they desired.
Ryan, do you have a theory? Because this is what perplexes me. It's a deep blue city. Hogsett wins overwhelmingly every time he's run for mayor. It's not like he necessarily needed this guy. This guy's not David Axelrod. Do you have a theory in your investigation on why it appears he so staunchly defended Thomas Cook and why he refused to get rid of him for all those years?
It's hard to say. I mean, I try not to theorize too much and just kind of let the reporting guide where I go. One thing, this is all very complicated stuff. And I can understand, almost a situation here or there where you kind of wonder how to handle it. You notify your legal counsel, you maybe let them tell you what to do. Not that it makes what happened to the victims right. It's just if you were to learn some of this stuff, maybe you'd wonder, okay, what am I supposed to do? I'm going to go talk to my attorney. The problem here is that this happened for so many years, for so long. And if it's going to be such repeated behavior, and you have Lauren, you have Caroline, you have other people just sharing their stories, and they have mountains of evidence of what happened to them, it's hard to understand how something like this could happen for so long. Again, nearly a decade. And his right-hand man, he came back even after he was told to resign, not fired. He was still given some sort of informal leadership role on the 2023 mayoral campaign. And that's baffling.
Yeah, well, that's the big thing, right? He clearly knew what the guy was. They basically ran him out. He did resign, but they sort of resigned by force, it appears, in 2020. And then they bring him back in 2023. That is the thing to me, Ryan, is they knew what he was, and they still brought him back.
It's hard for the kinds of emails and messages I've gotten from, which have been a lot of them. It's hard for anyone to understand how this happened to the extent that it happened. You mentioned early on, that it's not as if we're worrying about what's happening in someone's personal life around infidelity or something like that. We're talking about a pattern of abuse of power that lasted for several years, and people knew about it and they didn't stop it.
Ryan, in a new letter, Ellert and Roberts, they're demanding some changes from the Hogsett administration. They want an independent third-party entity to be able to report any harassment or abuse to. I've heard that they want investigation into this harassment. Do you think that is going to happen, or any changes will take place because of this story?
Caroline and Lauren, they released a letter yesterday. They sent it to the mayor. They sent it to Council President Osili. And they want these widespread changes around sexual harassment policies in the city. And they have a few things that they're calling for, like the investigation, like you said. They also want to make sure that people who are in this situation have access to free mental health resources to get through the experiences, to get the help they need. What's interesting here is we don't quite know what the mayor, what the council president, what other councilors in general are going to go for. But Council President Vasily last night put a post on X saying he heard Lauren and Caroline, he believes them, and, quote, "We must make meaningful changes to the system that failed to protect these women from the appalling and predatory treatment they experienced."
Right.
It remains to be seen what changes the council will pursue, but part of that letter, as you know, asked for money in the budget to be put towards this issue. And, Monday is at least right now on the City County Council agenda, that's when the budget is going to get introduced. So I guess we'll see if that happens.
The title of the piece, Trapped, the City Leaders' Abuse of Power and How 3 Women Got Out. Ryan Martin, one of the authors of the piece, joins us. Great piece at Mirror Indy. And, man, these are the sort of things people win awards for, my friend. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
No one from the Indiana Republican Party is going to demand Joe Hogsett be fired. No one from the Indiana Democratic Party, which claims to actually care about women, although they can't define it, they're not going to demand Joe Hogsett be fired. And if you want to know why the story matters, the Republicans on the council don't know how to speak up. Cowardice is not something that should be rewarded with your vote. And silence leads to the death of a city and a soul. And we shouldn't be those people.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors. For 1951 cabinetry, visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
The search for the temporary fix. It's led you back there again. In the pharmacy aisle, looking for the new and improved Pillar Spray that will clear up your stuffy nose. And you'll give it a try because at least it helps you breathe, right? Yeah, it does. And it may work, but it's hurting you more than it's helping. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula with Advent, where we've pioneered simple solutions to nasal breathing problems without the pain and inconvenience of surgery. In-office procedures like balloon sinuplasty require 0 surgical cuts, little to no downtime, and can have you breathing better in less than 30 minutes. There are few, if any, practices that have been performing the balloon sinuplasty procedure longer than Advent. That's why we're a global destination for those living with nasal breathing problems. Visit AdventKnows.com to see if you're a candidate for balloon sinuplasty, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions.
I can't believe you two suckers drank that, whatever that was.
You didn't try any?
No.
Nice. So during the commercial break, we're walking down the hall, and Rob says, "Hey, Casey, come here. I want you to tell me what you think this is. There's jugs here with some liquid in it."
So to be clear, there, when we say there were jugs here, there were two
miniature.
Miniature containers with liquid. What? Why are you laughing?
Go ahead.
There were 2 miniature containers of liquid. When Casey said jugs, we're talking about 2 miniature containers.
They look like baby milk jugs.
Liquid, and it appeared to be a yellowish liquid, and on them was written blueberry and watermelon.
Correct.
I had previously had Kevin smell the items in the jugs, the clear baby containers with the liquid in it, just to be specific.
Yeah.
And then I said, "Kev, I think you should try this."
Yeah.
And without hesitation, Kev poured in, was it the watermelon or the blueberry?
I went for blueberry to start off with.
And just drank it right down. He was fine. I told you to come in. You then drank, was it the watermelon?
I did.
And then in the fridge, we found one labeled passion fruit.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if we were supposed to open that one or not. I don't know who left them. I would assume since they'd left the others, it was all fair game. If it was, we were not supposed to drink the passion fruit, I'm sorry, but Kev then drank on multiple occasions.
Yeah, I went back for seconds.
Some of the
for that
passion
one.
fruit. What does it taste like?
It's kind of tangy a little bit, but it's really delicious.
Yeah, the watermelon was sweet and it was good, but I was afraid that it was somebody's, I don't know, sample after a week of eating watermelon. Here's what my body produced.
And we thought it was booze at first too,
But we don't think it was
no
booze.
alcohol
There's
in
no
it.
booze
It's
in
actually,
there.
I think it's a nutrition drink.
Yeah. It's probably something homemade with juices full of electrolytes, and Kevin and I are going to be fantastic for the rest of the day. You, however, passed.
So aren't we a little worried, though, that somebody didn't leave a note as though, hey, this is from, I'm just making up names here, Tony Katz grew watermelon in his backyard and made and blueberries and made blueberry and watermelon electrolyte juice. Please partake in some. Like, shouldn't there be a note
Of
to the
what it
companies
is?
for who it's from, what it was?
Well, people leave pizza out there all the time, and usually there's not a note.
Yeah, but we know that's pizza.
Well,
we know what that is. We don't know what that thing you drank was.
Yeah, that's true.
And why was
are you feeling okay?
Yeah, I feel great.
Okay, good.
And honestly, who do you think brought it? Because I'm thinking Terry Stacy brought that in.
It does seem like a Terry Stacy sort of thing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The handwriting was pretty nice, which would lead me to believe it was a woman. You might want to silence your phone unless they are telling you. I just wanted to...
Okay. The drinks are from the World Food Championship people that came on our show yesterday. The drinks are from the guy's restaurant, and he brought us food. That from Jason Hammer.
Oh, it's from Hammer.
Wow.
So, Hammer, can we drink the passion fruit? It was in the fridge, so I felt bad about opening it, but I figured the others were open, so it was also fair game. Well, now I feel okay about going in and getting me some passion. Now
I like how you make Kevin and I be your guinea pig. You're like, come drink this.
Well, if you were stupid enough to do it, why wouldn't I?
Well, I didn't want to, and then you pressured me into it. I was.
Oh, yeah, act like I'm Thomas Carl Cook over here.
It was like, you do it. No, you first. No, you first.
Okay, so I'm doing no soda.
Right.
Am I violating my no soda pledge? But if I drink, did we feel like that was soda?
No, that's not soda
it's a
at all.
juice?
Yeah, there's no carbonation.
Counts
it's
as a
just
juice? Okay, very good. All right, well, then I'll try some.
And they were good. No wonder
Yeah.
it seems like they were the champs
This
of
was from
the World Food Championship.
This is from the. Oh yeah, Hammer sent that to me too. I don't know why I didn't see that until just now.
Yeah. So I think you should go get a big glass full. You'll be okay. You won't be violating your no soda.
Okay, well, that was one of my biggest concerns was, I mean, like, so I have those, I also did no sweets, and my wife is a real rule stickler. And I have those protein bars that I get are like the big cookie crunch bars.
That are covered in chocolate?
Well, but this was an apple one, and it's got all sorts of nutrients in it, and it's all lists all the things and percentage of things you're supposed to have, and I was like, this is not a sweet. And she's like, it absolutely is a sweet. I said, but it's a protein bar.
Right.
It has all these nutrients in it. If you buy a Twinkie or a Ding Dong, they're not listing riboflavin or vitamin B or E flat or whatever vitamins like these are. And she said, no, that's absolutely a sweet. You can't eat them.
But you did anyway?
No, I haven't eaten it. That's my point.
Okay.
I'm trying very hard to follow the rules.
Good. Okay. I think it's all in branding with the protein bar, because half of them are covered in chocolate.
Right. But so you're saying she's right that is a sweet.
I don't know. That's a toss-up because again, it's all on the label, right?
Right. I don't really miss it. I found I'm 6 days in, and I'm not like cringing or craving.
No headaches.
No,
no shakes.
No, I mean I've been
like
pretty
that?
productive all week, haven't I?
Yeah. You seem like you're getting a little edgy right now. We had somebody send us that entire box of
protein bars.
Granola bars and
Granola
everything.
bars. That's not a sweet either, right?
They're gone.
Well, they're gone, but that was a month ago.
Yeah, they're gone, but I think you're in need of a new package.
No, it's fine. I just want to make sure I'm not violating.
Why were you in the kitchen looking for food anyway?
I wasn't looking for food. I was going back in to get, I think I was going in to get water.
Oh, okay. And you just stumbled across
you're a very nasty person when you get challenged on things.
I am not. Okay.
Are the voicemails next?
Yeah, we've got some coming up from 93 WIBC.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt?
I owe the IRS $37,000.
Get ready for a toll-free hotline. Take advantage of new IRS tax forgiveness programs that may protect you from IRS collection agencies. They have the power to garnish your wages, put liens on your property, and levy your bank account. Civic Tax Relief can help protect you from the IRS.
Civic Tax Relief basically represented me against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, I didn't owe the IRS anything.
Find out about the Fresh Start program that is now available through Civic Tax Relief. Civic Tax Relief's special tax hotline can help you discover all the relief programs available for free.
I would recommend anyone who has a tax problem to contact Civic Tax Relief.
Just call 800-409-8555. 800-409-8555. Don't wait. Call now. 800-409-8555. 800-409-8555.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Get ready for incredible speed and high-octane fun. The Indy Airstrip Attack returns to Marion, Indiana Airport August 9th through 11th. This fast-paced racing event showcases some of the most powerful cars in the world. Presented by Revolution and Shift Sector. Get details at showmegrantcounty.com. Grant County, Indiana. Classic cool.
Indiana adventure is near. Come to Grant County this year.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-488-2594. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-488-2594. That's 800-488-2594. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary. 93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
Can they make a deal? It's partly cloudy and 73 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. The U.S. and Europe, along with its Arab allies in the Middle East, are all looking to try and broker a peace deal between Israel, Hamas, and Iran.
It's this diplomatic game of chess as world leaders are trying to de-escalate tensions and prevent this conflict from becoming a wider war. But today, Iran is claiming that it has in its Navy's arsenal these new cruise missiles that are equipped with highly explosive warheads that are undetectable. All of this comes as the U.S. says it is prepared for any possible scenario or attack from Iran or the Iranian proxies. And U.S. Air Force F-22 fighter jets have now arrived in the region.
Fox's Alex Hogan reporting. A new CNBC poll finds Donald Trump with a commanding lead over Kamala Harris on key economic issues. Now, overall, Trump leads Harris 46 to 48% in the CNBC All-America Economic Survey. But on the economy in particular, Trump leads Harris by 2 to 1. I'm Kirk Darling. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
Healthcare.gov is here for you when life happens. If you lost your health coverage because of turning 26, going off Medicaid, leaving your job, or moving, you could be eligible to enroll in new coverage now. And if you need to update your coverage because of marriage or having a baby, you could also be eligible. But don't wait. There's a limited time to enroll. Check your eligibility at healthcare.gov today. Life happens. Get covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatment at 317-559-PAIN.
The phone number, 317-684-8444. It is time to hear from you and your voicemails with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. And this first phone call is about the new section of the I-69 corridor. You are lamenting that none of the politicians there thank the taxpayers, which were actually the ones who paid for it. And here's a call about that.
Yes, this is Jeff. I'm calling from Whiteland. On yesterday's show, you spoke about the opening of the intersection between I-69 and 465 and talking about former Governor Pence, former Governor Daniels, and Governor Holcomb being there and taking great credit. You know what's missing in this conversation is that approval for I-69 was granted under the Frank O'Bannon administration, and it is Frank O'Bannon who determined what the route would be, because I recall the headlines in Indianapolis Star. He was talking about it was the people that mattered. He wanted the interstate to go through counties that would stimulate economic growth. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, that while these Republicans are taking a victory lap, Frank O'Bannon is being completely forgot about. So, thank you.
Okay, so the completion cost $4 billion.
4.3. Who's counting though? What's 300 million amongst friends,
okay.
Casey?
142-mile extension, 16 years to complete, and Holcomb was there with Mike Pence and also Mitch Daniels, and did not thank the taxpayers. Did he thank Frank O'Bannon?
Well, I mean, and these guys act as though, I mean, once Daniels was able to negotiate that deal with the toll road, which was the major influx of cash as part of major moves, that really ignited the ability to really start the thing. I mean, had that bid for the toll road came in much higher than they had anticipated, they were able to use that money and expedite the process. But that's our money, right? It doesn't matter whether it came from a toll or income tax or whatever. That's our money. It could have been used for something else. It didn't belong to Mitch Daniels. It didn't belong to Mike Pence. It didn't belong to Holcomb. And these guys who were just there, I mean, Pence and Holcomb were just there. The plan had already been in place. It had been funded. It was moving forward. I mean, like, Holcomb had nothing to do with it. Nothing whatsoever. Then he just sat there and went to ribbon cuttings. And for him to act like, oh, yeah, I really spearheaded this initiative to get it. Oh, bull. Stop.
New study came out that said that U.S. abortion numbers have risen slightly since Roe was overturned. And, of course, we had Jennifer McCormick on the program, and we were asking her what she thought the law in Indiana should be, and she kind of avoided answering a specific date.
Well, she wants no limits on abortion. Jennifer McCormick, and by the way, she won Braun the big loser of McCormick coming in here was Donald Rainwater, because I have heard from multiple people who were like, well, same old, same old. I don't like the Republicans, but boy, you can't have that monster in there. She's for on-demand abortion. Now, I'm not saying fear voting is the way to go, but I'm saying it's going to happen again when people hear that, because I guarantee if we'd have got to it, ran out of time, but if we'd asked her about little kids being able to chop off their penises, she'd have been all for that too, and the transitioning or whatever they call that, because I've seen her in photographs supporting, kids, trans, whatever, that she'd be all for that, and that, the men in the women's restrooms and all those things. Now, she did admit, and I'm sure she got flack for this, she admitted women give birth.
Right.
I don't know if she meant to do that or not.
So there are two genders.
But she would have been just extreme on the trans, kids, whatever stuff. People hear that and they're just like, I can't do that with you. I hate the Republicans. I hate what they're doing to me financially. I cannot have that running my state though. And I mean, she is like I said, she has a pleasant, charming personality, but she's a complete extremist on her political views.
Well, here's a phone call about that.
The reason that it's so easy for these people to talk about abortion so easily is because they call it reproductive rights. That's not reproduction. That's baby killing rights. If they called it what it is, baby killing rights, they may not talk so great about it every day. So I think we help give them shade by calling it reproductive rights, because there's no reproduction going on.
And that's what I had mentioned as well. If they don't like what it is, well, come up with some new flowery language to call it that.
I do wonder, too, how any person, she has given birth, she has a child, that person is now an adult, but she gave birth to a child and raised a child. How any person could be for abortion when you have seen it, you have raised a child at a birthday the other day.
Yesterday.
Like how any person could support abortion who has given birth and seen what from the very moment of conception, what that baby becomes, what that life becomes, is just totally beyond me.
Another phone call. You had mentioned about a new segment coming, and you were trying to come up with a name for it.
Yeah,
because many times we get told, okay, that's the problem, but how do we fix it?
Right. No.
And they're leaning on you to come up with the solution.
Now, I did this years ago when the women were here. We had a very popular segment called Where'd Your Money Go?, where I would look at various things in state and local governments and explain to people how their money was being wasted and abused. I famously found whatever it was like $15 million to cut out of the state budget in 2 minutes. Like, people were always like, where would we cut? Well, you could cut hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. And so I said, I'll find $15 million in just straight waste in 2 minutes or less. And so now, he said, with the property tax thing, and you've got three people, one person who has no plan in McCormick, one person who is passionate, but his plan has more holes than Swiss cheese and than rainwater. And then you have Braun, who has a plan that's interesting, probably doable, but I don't think is really all that passionate
Less
about
passionate.
it. It's
Sure.
like, can I just merge Braun and Rainwater together?
Sure.
Could I just take Braun's plan and put Rainwater's passion and just make them, one? I said, maybe it's time to bring Where'd Your Money Go back, but like start solving plans, solving problems that the lawmakers won't.
Right.
Take more work on my part. But as usual, I'll do it for humanity.
Right.
And we were kind of trying to throw around what a name for this segment might be.
Well, this guy has an answer for you.
The name of the segment is Rob Solves It.
There you go. Rob solves it.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
It'd be like Vanilla Ice. You got a problem, yo, I'll solve it.
That could be your theme song.
Check out my hook while the DJ revolves it.
Yeah, exactly. So we were talking about yearbooks. I had pulled out an old yearbook to show you pictures of not only Kirk Herbstreit, but that Jenny Ruby does exist. She's a real person.
So if you're new to the show, Casey was madly in love with Kirk Herbstreit when she was in high school. They went to the same high school.
Yeah.
Casey had an arch rival by the name of Jenny Ruby.
She was not my arch rival. We were friends. We were on the same basketball team.
I don't believe that for a second. You have no idea what happened to this woman. If she was your friend, you would have kept track of her. You were rivals.
Okay.
You were competitors over the same gentleman caller.
She lived on Peachtree Lane. I lived on Shady Creek Lane. We were neighbors too. Same neighborhood.
Yes, this is why your story just falls apart. An average person would assume you would not if this person was actually your friend. And it's fine, Casey. Women do stupid things over men all the time, and you were competing for the same man, and he became very successful, and he's a good-looking guy, and I'm not faulting you for that. But Jenny Ruby won the war, and she ended up with Kirk Herbstreit, and now you're stuck here with me.
Well, she didn't end up with him permanently.
Yeah, but she got him in. She ended up in that moment with Kirk Herbstreit.
Anyway,
did she put that in this yearbook? Did she put I won?
No, she did not. Can you imagine? She did not. But I did find the yearbook online, which surprised you that somebody had put it online. This woman is calling, and she's talking about she has her 50th class reunion coming up.
Hey, Robin Casey. I just listening to your show about looking for a lady that was in your class in Dayton, I believe, and I'm just getting prepared to head to Pennsylvania for my 50th class reunion. And I'm really scared because I have forgotten so many people, and I cannot tell you that it's a really hard thing for me to go there and look at somebody and not know who they are, even though I'll have the yearbook now. I'll dig that out, and I'll look at it. But it's hard. It's when people talk about other people, I cannot recall a name, a face. It's difficult. And then I have to say I did have cancer and had chemo, so that probably is a large part of my brain. I just don't remember things. But it's interesting what you do find out about people and how successful they are and what they've done and who's passed away. It's kind of a bittersweet time. But I thought it was enjoying hearing your discussion today about going to your 40th coming up, Miss Casey. And I do look great. I wish I could say that about myself. I really feel like, oh my, here's a put on time and wait, and that's the way it goes. 3 kids later. Anyway, have a great day. I love your show. Bye-bye.
Well, first of all, we're very thankful you beat cancer, and congratulations to you. Here's what I would say about Casey. You've done a little bit of stolen valor here.
What are you talking about?
You're not anywhere near your 40th anniversary.
It'll be... Okay, so the yearbook that I showed you, that was from sophomore year.
You're not 58
which
years
would
old.
be coming
nor
up
even
in 2
close
years.
To 58 years old.
No.
So this is stolen valor. You're making up stories about your time in combat to impress people about how well assembled you still are. And you are for your age. You're even 53,
Sounds
54,
like a backhanded
55.
compliment.
No, I'm just saying it's like people are like, oh my
You
gosh.
look really good for your age.
Well, you're doing what Tim Walz did. What did Walz do? He's got these people totally snowed that he was in combat so that they'll be impressed with him. You are exaggerating your age so people will think you're better assembled for your age when the reality is you're well assembled for the age you are.
No, so what I was saying that the picture was from sophomore year, which would have been 1986, which is coming up in 2 years. So it would be 40 years in 2 years from sophomore year.
Do you realize how that's government? It's such a government. See, your Walls. Old Casey Walls over here.
Don't you even. Don't go there. Hey, was there anyone famous that you graduated with?
In my class?
Yeah.
Me.
Oh.
I am the famous person. I was voted by my senior class, I think it was most likely to be president and most likely to be famous. I think I won both of those. And let me tell you, can I air a grievance here real quick?
That you're not in the Hall of Fame?
No, well, but we'll get to that.
Oh, you mean an additional grievance?
That'll be our September to remember when we flood the Brownsburg Hall of Fame with my nominations they'll reject. So when I was a senior in high school, everybody wanted me to run for senior class president.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like it is now. Oh my gosh, you'd be so great at this and blah, blah, blah. And I just said, I don't want to do that. I
choose not to run.
If asked, I will not run. If elected, I will not serve.
Mm-hmm.
And the person they picked, I said, do not pick this person, because I said, this person will not follow through on the one responsibility of the senior class president, which is every 10 years, you plan the reunion. I said, I guarantee you, this person, if you pick them, will drop the ball 10 years from now, and they will certainly drop the ball 20 years from now. And I will tell you, Casey, our 10-year reunion was one of the laziest, half-assed reunion performances in the history of reunions, and we didn't even have a 20-year one, and that was my opportunity, Casey, to go stick it to all these people and show how well I did and how well-preserved I still am.
So what you're telling me is, even as a high school senior, going into your senior year, you were steering elections even back then.
I told people what would happen. It was obvious to me, and I was proven exactly right. We didn't even have a 20-year reunion, and that was my opportunity to shine. I would have showed up like Kirk Herbstreit with
with security. I don't think they'll probably mind if you take it over. Take over that responsibility.
I did not run for the office.
Just send them an email and say, I'm going to take this off your plate. I can tell you're busy.
I'm needed here.
Okay. So is Hammer, and he's up next on 93 WIBC.
Tonight on the Tony Kinnecast, President Biden is making things worse for Kamala Harris, for Tim Walz, for public schools, for girls' sports, for your retirement account, if you have one left, and for your paycheck. Tune in at 7 p.m. right here or the podcast anytime.
Whatever happened to Tony Horton, the guy who created the revolutionary P90X?
2017, I was knocked down. A very rare type of shingles that went straight into my brain. My body was completely wasting away. I started researching everything related to building my muscle back again. That's when I learned about the potential of HMB plus vitamin D3 and what they can do when it comes to helping build new muscle.
So Tony developed high-impact protein by Power Life.
Just add 1 scoop of high-impact protein to a glass of water or your morning smoothie and enjoy the effects of that boss molecule and factory worker combination. Reshaping your body each and every day. More energy, burn more fat, and probably drop a few pounds along the way.
High-impact protein by Power Life is a tasty once-a-day powder that comes in either whey or plant protein. Go to mypowerlife.com and use code TONE to save 30%. Tony even offers a 90-day guarantee. Go to mypowerlife.com or text TONE to 511-511. Text TONE to 511-511 today. All individuals are unique. Your results can and will vary. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
Fox, CNN, other news sources are reporting home prices are expected to decline into 2025, even after the election. Maximize your home sales price now before this downturn with the agent proven to sell for top dollar, Mark Dietel. Perhaps you're worried about settling for less money with a low ball instant offer. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Sarah in Fountain Square had to say about working with Mark Dietel. After investing in a property in Fountain Square, I ran into some financial trouble and needed to sell the place fast. After hearing about Mark Dietel from friends, I hired him. Mark was able to sell my property within weeks for over list price. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietel, 317-755-4232 for all the details. Or go online to markdietel.com. It's Mark, Dietel.com. Tell him Rob sent you.
Did you know your life insurance is an asset you can sell? I'm Jay Jackson, CEO of Abacus Life. For almost 20 years, Abacus has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like you. And at abacuspays.com, we've created a free policy value calculator so you can find out the worth of your policy in just seconds. There are no fees and no obligations. Get real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus. Learn more at abacuspays.com.
Zero Res, 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at $119 plus 20% off their duct cleaning too. 388-5141, online at zeroresindy.com.
Never miss your favorite shows on WIBC. Get your content to go. Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, Hammer and Nigel, Tony Kennett, The Gun Guy, Home and Garden. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
There he is in the studio. Jason Hammer joins us from the Hammer and Nigel program. Good morning.
Good morning. Segment brought to you, as always, by the Hammer and Nigel Show merchandise store, store.hammerandnigel.com. The new Gun Guy shirt is selling well. And, of course, the I Hate Rob Kendall shirts, which all of the proceeds go to charity.
Before we find out how chubby you are in our grand finale of the weigh-in, can we just talk about, to the dismay of many, how great the ratings were?
Yep, good book. I haven't seen individual show breakdowns yet, but 6+ overall. The stuff they published in the, trades and all that kind of stuff were up again. So that's great. But man, rock and roll, move forward. We had a great news cycle helping us out last time. Now let's kick ass and move forward.
All right. So you and I were laughing, though. There's a forum that we follow. And if there is ever a time where we don't do well, there's like 10 million people that say we're done and we're all getting fired.
Right.
And then whenever we do great, which is most of the time, it's just radio silence.
It's crickets, right? Like the minute there's a bad book, well, probably because of those blowhards that are on in the afternoon and midday. But then when we do really well, it's radio silence.
All right, so this is it. This is the grand finale. August 11th of last year, you started this little weigh-in journey. And to remind everybody, each week you get on the scale. And if you are down, we give you a big round of applause, congratulate you. If you are up, you put $5 in a kitty. At the end of the year, I put the, which is now, I will put all that money, one towards Project Rescue, which fights human sex trafficking across the globe. And congratulations to you heading into this week. You started at 271. You were at 233.2 last week, which means you have lost 38 pounds over the course of a year. That's a lot of poundage.
It is. And, as I get older, it gets tougher and tougher to lose. So I'm trying to just keep it off this time around, right? Last, weight loss journeys, I would kill myself just to make weight, and then that didn't teach me anything,
And
right?
it didn't stick.
No, 100%. So I'm going to keep this rolling, and if it's cool with you, maybe once a month we could come in and see where we're at here.
I love it.
All right, so we got to beat 233.2. Let's go.
Hammer the final time. Sort of like the final episode of Seinfeld, tear in his eyes there.
Okay.
Not the way I'd like to end it, but 234, I'm up 0.8, Rob.
So you lost 37 pounds, though, in the aggregate, right?
Right.
37 pounds over an entire year.
And this is without, any drugs, any shots. There's no Ozempic. There's no Wegovy here. I know there's some folks here in the radio station that do that, and if that's what they like, God bless them. But this is all natural. It's just me making changes.
Do you feel like coming in here and doing your weigh-in every week has been keeping you honest, or at least keeping you on point?
I think my disdain for Rob Kendall is more than that.
Yeah, that's a good motivator.
Like, I like coming in here. I come in here every single day. But having to pay Rob Kendall any sort of funds really makes me sick.
And this is how much he hates me, Casey, that even though I've been very clear I will not see a dime of this, it will all go to charity, he hates me so much that even though his money is going to charity, he still just hates knowing that I will be the one giving it to the charity.
Correct.
How much did that get up to over the year? Do you guys know?
It'll be 35, right?
Yeah, $35 is what we owe right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to settle up, and I'm going to round it up to an even 50.
Oh, my goodness, thank you.
And you put that toward Project Rescue.
And here's what I'm going to do. Of course, Project
Bet
Rescue...
on a preseason game with it.
Project Rescue would want us to let it ride.
We're taking the under on the Colts game.
Think of all the kids we could help if... Because the way this works is Life Church partners with Project Rescue. Every year they write them a very large check at the end of the year. The money we give technically goes to them, and they give it to Project Rescue. I think at the lieutenant governor's debate is Tuesday at the state fair.
You're going to give Mike an envelope?
I'm going to just walk right up to him and hand him cash in front of Gary Dick.
In an unmarked envelope.
Right.
Like, have a suitcase chained to your wrists when you do it. Real quick, because I know we're running out of time here. You guys have been on a roll with the interviews with the gubernatorial candidates. I thought you guys all did a great job.
Oh, thank you.
But somebody is wondering why it had to be all three. Here to share his perspective on all of your interviews is AI Mike Braun.
Oh.
Good morning, all you sacks of crap. It was laughable listening to Casey and Kendall talking with others about property taxes. First of all, Rob is just the worst. What do chickens and Rob Kendall both have in common? They both have peckers on their face. As for the interviews, I went first, and then all the others wanted in. I hope Donald Rainwater and Jennifer McCormick enjoyed being sloppy seconds and thirds. Donald Rainwater looks like the kind of guy that sweats walking to the fridge. And as for the woman, I bet she has more cats than supporters. Also, why was Rob so nice to her?
Right.
She sucks, and Rob let her off the hook.
Come on.
Had that been me, Rob would have tried to burn me at the stake, but he let this wacky broad off the hook. And didn't she used to be a Republican?
Yes.
I haven't seen a flip-flop like that since a catfish jumped in my boat in DuBois County. Anyways, thanks for the opportunity, Rob. You still suck, but at least I was first. Braun, out.
AI Mike Braun sharing his thoughts on your debates.
You got to type that in all caps to get the enthusiastic out. Does it recognize that?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
All caps, in quotes, multiple exclamation points.
And
Yes.
when you have done these before, have you gotten done with one and it's nothing like you intended it to be?
Yeah. Like, honestly, the hardest one to do is Trump. Now, a lot of the software that I have, they've made it so you can't do the political candidates. So I've got to find other ways to do it. But Trump is so hard because 1 minute he's very soft, and the next minute they're coming across the border. Like, it's hard to find that soft, I don't know how to make a sound of him sucking in spit. That's a big part of the Trump thing. So he's the hardest by far.
Now, today is a big day for the Hammer and Nigel show.
We are going to the Indiana State Fair, baby, for Beer Sample Friday. We begin at 3:06. If you're going to the fair, it's at the tap room. So go down like the main strip, like you're heading toward the Midway. It's the big beer garden, the tap room. From there, you can enjoy the show.
Yeah, we're going to go. This is our date night, is to go see the Hammer and Nigel show. This was my wife's suggestion, not mine.
Came by last year.
Yeah, and there's going to be an Oreo eating contest.
Me and the boy. Yes, Chris Hammer against Jason Hammer. Deep fried Oreo eating contest. He's going down.
I love that. I love that.
No mercy. Prison rules. I might have to take his knee out like Cobra Kai.
Old Hammer Harding over here.
All right, thanks, Hammer. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Students who can read by the end of third grade are 35% more likely to graduate. I'm Dr. Katie Jenner, Indiana Secretary of Education, here to tell you how reading 30 minutes per day can improve the trajectory of a child's life. Whether you are reading with your child or they are reading independently, this is one of the most important things you can do to help them succeed. So this school year, please encourage your child to continue reading. It's a small habit that makes a big difference.
Sponsored by the Indiana Department of Education and aired by this station.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Hey, it's Rob from my friends at Garage Doors of Indianapolis with the story of how Garage Doors of Indianapolis did a great job helping my family. Recently, my dad had a garage door crisis. It just stopped working. Garage Doors of Indianapolis was there within hours, were friendly and professional, fixed the problem, and today his garage doors never worked better. For all your garage door needs, call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 317-875-4577, 317-875-4577, or visit them at doorstoday.com. Tell them Rob sent you.
You can host the best backyard barbecue when you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
Tune in Saturdays 9 to 1 for the Home and Garden Show for advice and fun. Brought to you by Michaelis. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors. For 1951 cabinetry, visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes, Donnie Burgess reports on what this city leader wants on Mayor Hogsett, plus where parents had a scare on the west side on Thursday, and how you can help some animals in need this weekend. I'm Kirk Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers Studios after Fox News Radio. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
Trying again to stop the war in Gaza. I'm Dave Anthony. Fox News. Israel is planning to send a negotiation team to a round of talks next week as the U.S. and Egypt and Qatar try again to broker a ceasefire with Hamas, as the Israelis keep going after those militants in Gaza while continuing to come under fire from militants in the north.
The Iron Dome today intercepting a barrage of rockets fired from Hezbollah. The Israeli Air Force also says that it destroyed a Hezbollah command center in southern Lebanon. Now in Gaza today, tanks rolled back into the southern city of Khan Yunis, forcing displaced civilians to evacuate as the IDF resumes ground operations there.
Fox's Alex Hogan in Tel Aviv. Russia has declared an emergency in the Kursk region, sending reinforcements there today. Days after hundreds of Ukrainian troops crossed the border, staging the biggest attack inside Russia since Russia invaded Ukraine, starting the war. What's left of what was Tropical Storm Debbie is moving into Pennsylvania and New York, and then New England later, blamed for an 8th death.
Debbie's remnants are still raining down, causing floods and even impacting travel along major arteries like Interstate 95 in Virginia. The cyclone has been deadly. A woman in Rockingham County, North Carolina, was killed by a tree falling on her home. Tornadoes have torn up small communities in that state.
That's Fox's Eben Brown. Vice President Harris and running mate Tim Walz will campaign today in Arizona,
where border security is a top issue, but so are issues like the economy and the environment. And polls show here in Arizona the race remains, just like 4 years ago, a true toss-up.
Fox's Mark Meredith in Glendale. Former President Trump will campaign today in Montana, and he's critical that Vice President Harris hasn't done interviews.
She's barely competent, and she can't do an interview. But I look forward to the debates because I think we have to set the record straight.
So far, just one Trump-Harris debate's been set September 10th. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What he says needs to happen. Radar is clear. It is mostly cloudy and 73 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Former Indy Deputy Mayor Thomas Cook has been accused of sexual harassment. Donnie Burgess reports the accusations go back nearly a decade.
Very disturbing to hear these allegations.
Republican City County Councilor Brian Mowry. He wants to form an investigative committee with Democrats to look into the claims against Cook and the claims that Mayor Joe Hogsett knew and did nothing.
To know that this is going on for several years, over several times, is disturbing that it was allowed to continue in the first place.
Mowry did not join the call for Hogsett to resign, rather leaning towards letting the mayor have a chance to defend himself. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A car stolen from near the Indianapolis Motor Speedway yesterday. That car had a child in the back seat when someone drove off with it near 12th and Tibbs. It wasn't long, though, until police got calls about where the car was. The child was found okay, but no arrest has been made yet. State police reminding you not to drive high, especially now that Ohio has legalized recreational pot.
If you're found to be impaired under the influence of marijuana and you're driving a vehicle, it can be the same as operating with alcohol in your system. The tests may be a little bit different.
State Police Sergeant John Perrine urges you not to go across the Ohio border to buy any weed and bring it back. It's still completely illegal here. Formula One and its parent company Liberty Media are being investigated by the DOJ over possible antitrust violations. It has to do with F1's rejection of Indianapolis-based Andretti Global. Andretti had tried to join the racing series earlier this year. Get ready to lace up and leash up. Something big is happening in Fishers. Terry Stacy explains.
Wolfstock Survivors 5K and Dog Walk is Saturday in Fishers, benefiting the Humane Society of Hamilton County.
We believe that every life deserves to be celebrated. 70% of those 4,000 animals that come through our doors, they all receive care from the Survivor Fund.
That's Lily Darling. The race starts at 8 a.m. at 4-Day Ray Brewing. Register at hamiltonhumane.com. Terry Stacy, WIBC Mobile News.
On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, August 9th. It's 5 minutes after 11. That's Rob Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels, and let's talk about how much money you're spending these days. The average consumer now carries $6,329 in credit card debt, and experts are saying, well, that means people are stretched. You think? Collectively, Americans owe $1.14 trillion on their credit cards.
Okay, what was the number?
$6,329.
Okay, so public school math. Okay, so first of all, I looked up, according to IndyStar, the average annual salary in Indiana was $57,304. That is, so I get that everybody's not exactly the same, but if we just were to say the average person owes and the average salary here, so if we just, again, I realize it's not an apples to apples comparison, but if you were to take that number, $6,329, divide it by $57,304, that is 11% of the average Hoosier's income would be dedicated to credit card debt.
Yeah, it's up 4.8% year over year.
And when you said the number, which is over $1 trillion, right?
$1.14 trillion.
$1.14 trillion. Part of the reason this happens, one, it is the state of our society, period, and the economy and inflation and how salaries have not kept pace with the rise of goods and the cost of goods and services. But it's also our government leads by example, right? People see what our government's doing and they say, well, my $6,329
is nothing to the $35 trillion.
Right.
Yeah.
Why do they get to do it? Why can't I do it? And, you know, I mean, well, maybe you have a point there.
So credit card delinquency rate is also on the rise because people are racking up this debt and then they're late paying it off and maxing out their credit cards. There was a brief time in 2020 and also in 21 where credit card debt and balances were starting to fall just a little bit. But ever since the end of 21, credit card balances have skyrocketed upwards of to 48%. And a lot of this, they're saying, is based on consumers' willingness to splurge on travel and entertainment. For a while, there was that trend of revenge spending.
Yeah.
Because after the pandemic, you weren't allowed to do anything. And then when things started to open back up, everybody was on this revenge tour of wanting to do things that they weren't able to do and get back to normal.
Yeah, so you hit the nail on the head, which is what happened in 2020 and 2021. People couldn't go out. They couldn't do things. There was not luxury spending the way there had previously been. And so as a result, I think you had people making fewer large purchases and thus naturally that debt number came down. People weren't putting on as much, but they were also paying. There was a chance paying down some of what they had. However, like you said, once you sort of like opened the floodgates, because people thought, well, who knows when I'm going to be able to get out and do these things again, and they started doing them. And look, there has to be a balancing act, and this is part of the problem in our society. There is no balancing act between in terms of, hey, you don't have to be a Rob Kendall type hermit, right? You can go do things and not be Mr. Frugal Man on everything, but there has to be some level of accountability. And so many of the things that are being done in our society are done without any accountability or regard for what's your next move, what's your move a year from now, what's your move 5 years from now, how do you stabilize your own economic situation so that you can live a productive and healthy lifestyle.
But you're right. If the government isn't doing it, people feel like, well, if they're not doing it, why do I have to do it?
And everything gets bailed out, Casey. Everything gets bailed out.
And credit card debt is one of the more expensive debts you can have because the rates are so much higher. And so it is at an all-time high, and they're saying you should try and consolidate, pay off the high-interest credit cards, and maybe switch to an interest-free balance if you can, transfer it. But like you mentioned, everybody's got debt, especially our government.
If you know someone who has been in credit card debt, and look, these credit card companies, I don't know if prey on is the right word. I mean, if you're an adult and you agree to do something, you're accountable for your own actions. You need to have some self-control. But let's face it, they prey on younger, less economically literate people in the sense of they entice you to do this thing. They want you to owe them money. Now, a guy like me, I'm a huge loser for them because I use my credit card all the time throughout the month because I know I'm going to pay it off. So why wouldn't I rack up all the points and the free money and everything that comes with that? I make, a lot of money off my credit card every year because I know I'm dedicated enough to know I will pay this off. Pay it off in person. Surprise, surprise, Casey. I walk right in there and say, there you go. I'd like a receipt for that payment. Thank you. But how many people actually do that? And they know for every person like me who is just like clockwork on this, there's going to be 2 or 3 people who certainly aren't anything like that and are going to owe them money. And it's if you know somebody who's gotten into credit card debt, it's a very vicious cycle for them to try to get out of because of, like you said, what the interest rate payment is on that.
Yeah, and isn't it interesting how we've gone from this revenge spending? People were okay with racking up debt on their credit card to make them feel normal again.
Yeah.
And then that morphed right into the cost of inflation and Bidenomics and your government overspending, which has caught up with you.
Economics and economic behavior is learned activity. I mean, I think some things in our lives are genetic and things, are just in our DNA. And then I think economic behavior is a learned experience. Like, for example, I was very, very close with my grandparents growing up. They were children of the Depression. So even though they became successful, my grandfather became successful working for the railroad, they had a comfortable middle-class life, they never forgot the things they experienced growing up in the Depression, without shoes, sometimes without food, they were on their own. So in their life, like, they didn't have credit cards. They always paid things off pretty much in cash. When they bought cars, whatever, they would save until they could do that. That was a learned experience for me. I learned my economic worldview and how I do things based on, largely because I so revered them and I saw the life they were able to make for themselves and lead. And I thought, okay, well, that's how you do it. Now, I do things that are probably not the most economically beneficial in terms of sometimes how I invest money, sometimes how I save money, sometimes how I spend or wait until I have money to spend on things. But it's the learned experience, which is created. I don't have the debt that other people do. And so part of this falls back on young people are not being taught financial literacy. They're not being taught it at home, certainly. They're not being taught it in the public education system. And thus then you get these people who enter the world and say, I'm like, oh, you mean I can take out a credit card here? Oh, you don't have to pay it off right away? Well, if it's out of sight, out of mind, you're way more apt to spend money on things versus if you had to spend it in the moment to buy the thing.
Yeah. Our daughter just recently got a credit card, her first one. And it was really interesting because she's, learning all of this stuff. And she went and she bought like a muffin at the grocery store and right away wanted to go and pay it off. And so Jim was trying to tell her, well, it normally takes a day or two for it to show up.
Yeah.
But she was very worried. No, I don't want that bill out there.
Right.
I'm just trying to, get my number up there, my credit score up there. So I want to pay it off right away. And I said to him, help her with this. And he said, no, I'm going to let her figure it out first. And then if she needs help, I'll be there for her.
One of the things our society does, and this is not a good thing, is they reward debt. Like any person who has tried to buy a car or tried to buy a house, if you have not taken on a certain level, it's so weird where it's like you get rewarded
for having debt.
For having debt. And I remember several years ago, because I have so little debt and I've always paid things in cash. And obviously I have a credit card, but other than that, like that's it. I've always paid cash for my cars, all that sort of stuff. When I went to buy a car, the person told me, the guy goes, "You're a ghost." He's like, "You exist. I see, you have this credit card that you pay off." But he said, you're a ghost. And he said, you're people, it's hard to, and I said, well, shouldn't that be good that I don't have a bunch of debt? He goes, yeah, it's good for you. But he goes, that's not how we do this. And I said, what do you mean that's not how you do this? He goes, well, we want to see that you pay things off. And I said, well, you clearly see I pay my credit card. He goes, no, we want to see you pay big things off.
Multiple things.
I said, well, how do you, it's like the chicken or the egg thing, right? So you're encouraging people to take on this. He goes, yeah, that's what we do. I said, well, that's why we're in the position we're in. He said, well, we're doing great.
You know who else is a ghost when it comes to finances like that is Tim Walz.
Yes, he doesn't even own a home.
Right. So he's got like no mortgage.
Did you see this?
No stocks.
Yeah.
There's nothing on him.
How does a 60-year-old man not own a home? I mean, isn't that kind of pathetic? I mean, I guess logically, if Minnesota is like Indiana and has some sort of governor's residence, that means the guy sold his home, though. He's homeless.
Right.
That's ridiculous. How the governor should have a home for when the governor is done being the governor, but this guy's literally just living off the government. He has no home. How is that possible that he does not own real estate?
Well, he's hoping to move into a different home, I guess, after this.
Well, I think like Pence was the same way, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Pence, maybe Pence. No, because remember Pence had to buy a house when he stopped being vice president. He bought that mansion on the Zionsville Carmel border. See, these government people, right? Like, how does the governor is a 60-year-old grown-ass man not own a house? He owns nothing.
So there was a new report that came out, and it ranked the safest suburbs in America. And one in Hamilton County is on the list. It's not the one that you would expect. It's not Carmel, but it came in 12th as the safest suburb in the United States. Noblesville.
How do they judge what the safest city is?
They looked at 360 suburbs across the country, and they have to be near a major metro. So they analyzed the suburbs based on multiple safety-related metrics, violent crime rates, property crime rates based on FBI data, and also adults engaging in excessive drinking, and also deaths related to traffic accidents.
Well,
And Noblesville came in 12th.
I think these people are full of crap.
You think so?
I think they're looking for a story to write.
So Carmel is on the list. Carmel was at number 18. Fisher's number 16.
Well, good on them. I call bull crap on all of it. And I say they're just some guy looking to write a story, and he just started pulling out random measurements and says, this is how we'll decide.
Plot this on a graph, and this is what it spit out.
I mean, I'm not saying Noblesville is an unsafe city. What I am saying, though, is if drinking's part of the equation, there's a very famous old bar right on the town square in Noblesville that a whole bunch of people hang out at.
But they said excessive drinking. Are they excessively drinking
What
there?
do you like drinking in a bar, Casey?
I do. Okay, so there's an event happening in town this weekend. We're going to talk about that and the lady who's now enshrined in butter. That's on the way from 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC.
3 Taylor Swift concerts were canceled in Vienna over terror concerns. 2 extremists involved in the plot.
Another news update is minutes away.
Storm damage in the Midwest. It's why AES Indiana is sending help to Cleveland, Ohio.
The length of stay will really depend on the amount of damage that they see once they get there.
On the level, on the go.
2 people died in a crash in Hendricks County.
93 WIBC Mobile News.
3 reasons I ditched my old school deodorant and made the switch to Lumi Whole Body Deodorant for pits, privates, and beyond. First, Lumi is crazy effective. It controls odor in a new way and keeps me fresher longer. Second, it's a whole body deodorant that works on every nook and cranny. You know, the ones we all have. My pits, underboob, thigh folds, behind, and even feet. Use it anywhere. Third, Lumi was created by an OBGYN. I don't know about you, but knowing Lumi was formulated by an OBGYN who knows all about safety below the belt is super reassuring. Experience a new way to control odor longer that works everywhere. There's a special offer for listeners. Go to LumiDeodorant.com and use code WORKS and get 15% off your first purchase with code WORKS, like the Lumi Starter Pack, acidified body wash, or new Lumi Plus Sweat Control. That's LumeDeodorant.com, code WORKS for 15% off your first purchase. Love it, or return it for free. That's LumeDeodorant.com, code WORKS to save 15% today.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. Roof repair? Done well. Kitchen sink install? Done well. Deck upgrades? Done well. Electrical upgrade? Done well. Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for nearly 30 years, so we know the difference between done and done well. Hire high-quality, certified pros at Angie.com.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Whoa, check out that chick.
Yeah, but who's that fart knocker she's with?
So there's an event happening in Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Stadium. The 15th year in a row they've done this. It's the Drum Corps International World Championship. Lots of drummers are going to be here. 40 teams competing for the shot of the title. It started yesterday, and it will culminate on Saturday when they whittle the field down to 12 bands.
So, okay, so this is not like drummers like, hey, John Bonham's son is going to be there.
Correct.
Performing.
No, these are more like bands and the
squaring off
flag
against
corps.
Tommy Lee or whatever.
Drum lines.
Yeah, drum line.
6,000 musicians and color guard dancers are going to be here. They're going to be performing over the next couple days, and they practice over on the field over there, the park by the.
You know the thing. you know the thing. We hold these truths to be all self-evident.
White River State Park.
Thank you. Yes, you know the thing. Although I do think it would be more entertaining, perhaps, if we had. How many band people does it say? How many?
It says 6,000 musicians and color guard dancers.
If we had 6,000 professional drummers, like if we had 6,000 Jason Bonhams or Tommy Lees
or Alex Van Halen,
yes, or you even have not good drummers like Ringo be there, Max Weinberg could be there. I'm just saying that might be 6,000 professional drummers might be more entertaining than the drum line.
Yeah, that's actually what I pictured right away when
Thank you.
you mentioned the title earlier.
What, just one solo drummer?
No, just
himself?
a bunch of drummers.
6,000.
Just banging on drum
6,000
kits.
drummers, yes.
Yeah, no, but they'll be doing it in unison, so you can go if you want to. It's $25 a ticket.
$25 bucks.
Mm-hmm. And they expect about 20,000 people in town for the World Finals. And you mentioned Ringo being a bad drummer. Kevin, Ticket to Ride. I would say he does it off beat. That makes him a pretty good drummer.
Oh, well, I wasn't the one that said he was bad. That was Rob.
Right.
I've always said that Ringo is a pretty creative drummer and kind of innovative for his time.
Okay, here we go. We're going to do this. All right, that's fine on a Friday. Hey, if you got 104% in your History of the Beatles 401 class, raise your hand. Oh, I'm the only one raising my hand. You can see on the YouTube chat. You know what they taught us in that class? In the History of the Beatles class, taught to us by a guy who was a drummer, Ringo was a bad drummer.
Really?
His fills are terrible. And if you actually go listen to a Beatles song, just listening to the Ringo Starr, Richard Starkey, whatever we're calling him today, fills, they are horrendous. Mass hypnosis, Casey.
Yeah,
that's all it was.
His timing was not great.
Thank
I
you.
will say that.
Okay.
Thank you. And you're a drummer.
Yeah, that's true.
You should go over to the drum corps competition.
You know, actually, when I saw that movie Drumline with, what was that guy's name? You know who I'm talking about.
You know the thing.
Anyway, well, there's a movie that came out in the early 2000s called Drumline, and I thought it was really cool when I was younger, and yeah, maybe I will check it out.
So you would be, are these high school kids? Is that what this is? So you would be like the Matthew McConaughey character in Dazed and Confused, hanging outside the high school. Hey, kids, you want to learn how to drum? All right,
I'm not going to it.
He gets older and they stay the same age. Okay, so at the Iowa State Fair that is happening right now, you've got, they draw about 1 million people every year to their state fair. And guess who's been enshrined in butter?
What, and who?
Caitlin Clark.
Oh,
there's a
enshrined in butter. I was
in butter. Yeah, there's a statue of her at the Iowa State Fair. You know, every year they'll carve someone.
I didn't know that.
Out of butter.
Like they take a human being and they make them. How do they?
It's a statue made out of butter.
But I'm saying, do they have to have it in some sort of refrigerated?
Yeah, they got to keep it cool or it will melt. Yeah.
You couldn't. I mean, who's going to want to walk in there and see that if it's 30 degrees and wherever you're keeping it?
So they do this butter cow every year, and it weighs 600 pounds.
They make a. They. What do you mean they do a butter cow? Like they make a cow out of butter?
Yeah, a big cow. They, make
no,
the
I don't
frame.
know. That's why
they
I'm
make
asking
the
you.
frame and then they cover it with butter.
I love how you're like, you know. I mean, this happens. No, I don't know. That's what I'm asking
They make the frame of a cow and then they cover it in butter and then they shape it out to make it look like a cow.
Why do they do this?
Because that's what Iowa does at their state fair. They have the butter cow, and this year they'll have the butter Caitlin Clark as well.
Do they get to eat the butter?
You know what? I was trying to find out what happens to it afterwards. Like, what do they do with the sculptures?
Do they ship it to Caitlin Clark and go, here's your
butter statue?
I mean, that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
To have a butter statue.
Made out of you. Won't last quite as long as wax, right?
Well, you see this at weddings sometimes where they have the ice sculptures. Now, how do they keep those from melting?
They don't. They just eventually melt.
So if you had an ice sculpture at your wedding, it would melt if your wedding was long enough. There is no thing that keeps the ice from melting.
No,
it's
it just eventually,
practice.
yeah, it just melts over time.
It seems like something you would have done at your wedding.
We did have an ice sculpture.
You did! I knew it! Oh!
It was part of the thing. Like, we didn't request it. It was just something.
What do you mean it was part of the thing? That sounds a very expensive thing to be just part of the thing.
Where we had the reception, it was part of the, that was part of it. You get this.
What?
Yeah.
We throw, like, you pay us and we throw in the ice sculpture. What was it an ice sculpture of?
I think it was a bird or something.
Oh, it wasn't like you and Jim.
No, it was something. Yeah.
So they clearly have.
I'm like, no. I wouldn't do that.
So it's like probably they have them in stock. Somebody makes ice sculptures in mass.
In bulk. Yeah. And then they ship them over. And it does melt over time. By the end of the reception, it's dripping.
No kidding.
Yeah. You doing it in the backyard did not have an ice sculpture.
No, I got married in my backyard. There were like 10 people there. And it was great and cheap. And you know what? We got married. Our marriage is just as legal as everyone else's.
This is true.
At a fraction of the price.
This is true.
And look at how happy I am.
Okay, it is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. And we've got to talk about a little bit more about Donald Trump's press conference that he had and what he said there. And also, I got to ask you about what's going on with Tori Spelling.
Like I would know?
Well, I think you'll have an opinion on this.
Oh, very good.
Okay. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Life can be full of risks. One thing you shouldn't take a risk with ever is your family's health insurance. If you're self-employed or you now need affordable health insurance, you need to make this free call right now and see how the Health Insurance Helpline can help you get it. We specialize in helping the self-employed and people just like you that need affordable health insurance to get it. We have short and long-term health insurance plans, and some even cover dental, vision, and prescription drugs. Don't take a risk with your family's health insurance. It's not worth it. it. If you're self-employed or now need affordable health insurance, call right now and learn for free how to get it. Listen, affordable health insurance plans for everyone just like you are a free phone call away. So give us a shout right now.
800-659-7540. 800-659-7540. 800-659-7540. That's 800-659-7540.
Hey guys, it's Rob for my friends and family at Life Church. You know, Sunday is right around the corner, and this Sunday, if you are looking for a new church home or even a first church home, check out Life Church. Over the years, many WIBC listeners have found a home at Life Church, and it's not hard to see why Life Church is a lot like WIBC in the sense of they tell you not what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. Life Church makes it super simple for you. Campuses all across central Indiana, Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton, plus awesome online services. Learn more about it all at lifechurchin.com.
Sinus pressure, congestion, snoring, being unable to sleep, being unable to breathe. Yep, it's another sinus infection. You've Googled, watched videos, tried over-the-counter sprays, medications, and home remedies, but nothing ever works. There must be some kind of treatment that can help, right? Indianapolis Sinus Center understands how draining it can be when you try treatment after treatment without any relief. That's why they've been serving and treating the community for over 50 years. Indianapolis Sinus Center has performed thousands of procedures and helped thousands of patients find lasting relief they didn't know was possible. Patients like you. If you've had enough of sinus pain, pressure, and congestion, schedule a visit with Indianapolis Sinus Center today. Call 317-528-9650 and take the first step toward breathing easy. 317-528-9650. That's 317-528-9650 or visit IndianapolisSinusCenter.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
They'll go head-to-head. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. At least one debate between former President Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris is set. ABC News announcing Trump and Harris agreed to debate on September 10th. During a Thursday press event, Trump said that he agreed to 2 more debates on NBC and Fox News, but those networks have yet to confirm. Several women have accused Indy Mayor Joe Hogsett's former Deputy Mayor Thomas Cook of sexual harassment, and those women say Hogsett did nothing about it.
I think everybody does deserve their day in court, and they should have their time. We should have a time to really vet out what's happened and not rush to conclusions and make sure we're thoroughly looking into this.
Indy GOP Republican caucus leader Brian Mowry, who says an investigative committee should be formed on the city county council. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Get ready for incredible speed and high-octane fun. The Indy Airstrip Attack returns to Marion, Indiana Airport August 9th through 11th. This fast-paced racing event showcases some of the most powerful cars in the world. Presented by Revolution and Shift Sector. Get details at showmegrantcounty.com. Grant County, Indiana. Classic cool.
Indiana adventure is near. Come to Grant County this year.
Healthcare.gov is here for you when life happens. If you lost your health coverage because of turning 26, going off Medicaid, leaving your job, or moving, you could be eligible to enroll in new coverage now. And if you need to update your coverage because of marriage or having a baby, you could also be eligible. But don't wait. There's a limited time to enroll. Check your eligibility at healthcare.gov today. Life happens. Get covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
So Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, they're going to hold a rally in Arizona. Trump is supposed to be visiting Montana. Were they always called rallies before Trump?
Yeah, you have a political rally, right? Okay. Montana, why would... Oh, I bet Trump's going to Montana for the Senate race because they got that John Tester up there as a Democrat. They're trying to get that Democrat defeated, and that's a super close race. I bet that's why he's going to Montana.
He was asked during his press conference yesterday about the crowd sizes during any Harris rallies, and this was his answer.
Are you worried at all about the size of Harris's crowds?
Oh, give me a break. Listen, I had 107,000 people in New Jersey. You didn't report it. I'm so glad you asked. What did she have yesterday? 2,000 people? If I ever had 2,000 people, you'd say my campaign is finished. It's so dishonest, the press. And here's a great example. I had in Michigan recently 25,000 people, and 25,000 people we just couldn't get them in. We had in Harrisburg 25,000 people, and 20,000 people couldn't get in. We had so many. Nobody ever mentions that. When she gets 1,500 people, and I saw it yesterday on ABC, which they said, oh, the crowd was so big. I have 10 times, 20 times, 30 times the crowd size. And no, they never say the crowd was big. That's why I'm always saying turn around the cameras. I'm so glad you asked that. I think it's so terrible when you say, well, she has 1,500 people, 1,000 people, and they talk about, oh, the enthusiasm. Let me tell you, we have the enthusiasm. The Republican Party, and me as a candidate, but the Republican Party has the enthusiasm.
Okay, let's talk about this for a second, shall we?
Yeah.
Because this is why if he loses, he's going to lose. Because how long did he spend on his crowd size? He's more passionate about his crowd size.
It was about a minute and 15 seconds.
He's more passionate about his crowd size than he is any public policy that'll help people. I watched Ron DeSantis yesterday just shred Tim Walz on how he handled COVID. It was incredible on how DeSantis, talking about the snitch lines and basically all the stuff Holcomb did here, but Holcomb ain't running for vice president. And it was like, this is I'm watching this going, this is wonderful. This is reminding society of who these people are and what they did to you and what they'll do to you if you put them in and how you can't trust these people and put them. It's all the facts, right? He's just issue. And then you got Trump, who is the thing that makes him the most upset or he gets the most hot about is when someone challenges his crowd size. His crowd size doesn't make food more affordable. His crowd size doesn't make gas more affordable. His crowd size doesn't make rent more affordable. His crowd size doesn't stop whatever it is now, 12 million, 13 million, however many people have illegally crossed the border. It doesn't solve Israel and Palestine. It doesn't get us out of involvement in Ukraine. Start to talk about the issues. Hold the passion for your crowd size or Brian Kemp for the issues.
Okay, so I feel like the reporters are just trying to poke the bear on that one. They're trying to get a rise out of him, and they know that that's going to do it.
He always takes the bait. He always takes the bait.
Oh, what do you think about the crowd size? But he did have a point that he's saying, my crowds are huge. Clearly, it's been documented over time. She gets a magical gain of, I don't even know, 1,000%, a 900% increase on her crowd size. And all of a sudden, she is this most popular candidate ever. And he has been doing it for years.
But who cares?
He's pointing it out, though.
Who cares, Casey? Who cares about the crowd size? Clearly, the one guy hidden
his... Well, he does.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
But did he win the last election?
No.
Is he the president right now?
No.
Right. They haven't solved any of the things that kept 2020 from happening to stop him from happening again. He's not talking about the issues where she's super vulnerable, which is all the things we just laid out. He's talking about himself. He's talking about things that are important to him. What are we playing? We're playing a clip about him talking about crowd size instead of him talking about the price of food or the price of gas or what he's going to do to fix, ensure that out of control rent and mortgage prices don't continue. I mean, all of these things that are just made for issues, and we're focused on crowd size because he's focused on crowd size.
Okay, so Eli Lilly, they reported second quarter earnings, and their revenue blew past their expectations.
Who?
Eli Lilly, drug maker.
Oh.
Yeah. They said that they're going to make between $45 and $46 billion.
Oh, how much?
Between $45 and $46 billion.
45, so they're going to make, is that this year? They're going to make $45 to $46 billion this year.
An increase of $3 billion.
Yet we are led to believe, Casey, that in the state of Indiana, Eli Lilly could not have put together a real estate deal without the intervention and the heavy hand of government coming down to strong-arm farmers out of their land.
Correct.
45 to 46 billion Eli Lilly is going to profit. And you are led to believe by old Mouthy Matt and Lockdown McGee and the rest of the Good Time Fun gang at IEDC Incorporated that Eli Lilly, who's going to profit $45 to $46 billion, was incapable of putting a real estate deal together without government intervention and without some form of help to the tune of a pool of $500 million from poor and middle class people.
Yep.
That, my friends, is crony capitalism at its finest.
Okay, so they posted their second quarter revenue at $11 billion. It was up 36% from the same time last year. And do you know what they're attributing their success to?
Having government strong arm people into real estate deals with money from poor and middle class people.
It's mostly their weight loss and diabetes medication.
Want to take a guess at what the market capitalization of Eli Lilly is? Like what the total value of Eli Lilly is?
Oh, the entire company as a whole? Oh, I would have no idea. 922, I don't know what.
We have to $922?
No, billion.
$922 billion.
Yeah.
Kev, would you like to get in and take a guess on the market capitalization of Eli Lilly? Casey's in at 900. Price is Right rules. You go over, you lose.
Mm-hmm.
What was Casey's guess?
922.
I see it.
Oh, you cheated. $922 billion.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 917 billion.
Well, you both have lost. It's $851.56 billion, which you're high.
We were far
but
off.
you weren't that far off to just take a random shot in the dark.
Yeah.
So a company worth $851.56 billion needed money from poor and middle class people and the heavy hand of government to strong arm their way into a real estate deal.
Yeah.
Sure. Right.
They are the largest pharmaceutical company based in the United States. Okay, let's talk about what's going on with Tori Spelling really quick. You remember her. You used to watch her on the 90210 show.
I watched 90210 very briefly. I was a little young for that. However, I had a huge crush on Tiffany Amber Thiessen. So when she joined the show as Valerie Malone, coming off being Kelly Kapowski on Saved by the Bell, yeah, I was down for that for a few years.
Okay, so Tori Spelling, just like the rest of us, has bills to pay.
Yep.
You know, she went through a contentious divorce, right?
Yeah, but her dad was a big shot. Like she's got family money. Aaron Spelling.
Didn't he cut her off though?
Did he?
Yeah, I believe so. Like he didn't give her any of the money.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So
she's at a soup kitchen somewhere.
Well,
then.
she's got bills to pay. She's got kids going to college soon. She's 51 years old.
Yeah.
And her good friend Denise Richards.
Yeah. Who was married to no, she's not the one that was married to Gene Simmons, was she? Is that right? No. Who's the famous lady that was married to Gene Simmons?
Not Denise Richards.
Are you sure?
No, I'm not sure.
Nah, so you don't know. Maybe I could be wrong. I don't know. Was she married to Gene Simmons? Somebody famous was married to Gene Simmons. Who was the actress that was married to Gene Simmons? I don't know. Anyway, go ahead. Doesn't matter.
Denise Richards has encouraged Tori Spelling to go topless behind a paywall.
Oh, and OnlyFans.
Yeah. And she's open to the idea, but only if she gets her third, can I say the word? Her third enhancement.
Oh, the breastular area.
Yes.
Her third one.
Her third one.
Charlie Sheen. That's who she was with. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, not Gene Simmons.
Well, it was at least
Charlie Sheen and Gene Simmons.
Well, they're both kind of, I mean, let's face it, a little suspect, right?
Okay.
I mean, neither one of them probably winning awards for humanitarianism, or See, that was close though. At least I knew she was with somebody famous.
She was with somebody famous. Once an actor, once a musician, whatever.
Anyway, I'm sorry. So Tori Spelling is saying I will do OnlyFans if I can get a third
enhancement surgery.
So
Correct.
she's on number 3. I thought she just kept going.
Yeah.
Why?
Because apparently, I don't know why. That's because she wants to.
She wanted to keep going.
Yeah, she wanted to keep going.
Who's paying for this? Are people
well,
paying for this?
Well, that's the thing, right? She's saying she's going to go on OnlyFans to make money. But only if she can have the surgery first, which costs about $10,000.
I mean, that is...
Is that like an investment in your future?
Well, that's pretty pathetic, right? That at her age, like that's how you see your path to making money is... I mean, you were at one point a very famous Hollywood actress. You were on one of the top shows in all of television. And what you were so bad with your money that now being naked to random strangers is the way you can pay your bills.
So Denise Richards is telling her, hey, at our age, if people want to see that, good for you. But Tori Spelling is saying, well, they really don't want to see it, or she doesn't want to show it unless she has some sort of enhancement.
Well, but see, that she doesn't. Shannon Tweed, that's who Gene Simmons was with.
That was going to drive you crazy, wasn't it?
I just got them all mixed up together. But see, he was married to somebody famous too.
Mm-hmm. So Snoop Dogg reportedly earning $500,000 a day to be the correspondent at the Olympics. Have you haven't been watching it all, right?
No, and you'll be so proud of me, Casey.
It ends this weekend.
Well, thank goodness. But you'll be so proud of me because yesterday it looked like Team USA basketball was going to lose to Serbia. And I got the notice like heading into the fourth quarter that they were down big. And I thought, oh my gosh, I've got to see this history. And then I said, no, I said I'm boycotting the Olympics. So I've got to stay with it. And I'll just find out after the thing's over. And you'll be proud of me. I did not turn the basketball game on.
So he has made over $9 million so far. Doing the Olympics.
Snoop Dogg?
Snoop Dogg.
Oh, he's not doing it out of patriotism?
No, he's been doing it for 17 days. And not only does he get the money, he gets all of his expenses paid and the different outfits that he's been wearing.
So he's not doing this for love of... I see people have been showing...
he's doing it for the paycheck.
Oh, that's terrible because people have been showing these photos of him like, oh, look at how patriotic Snoop Dogg is. Look at what a great guy Snoop Dogg is. No, he's doing it for $9 million.
Yeah,
He probably would have done it for Iraq if they'd have offered him 20.
So the Olympics ends on Sunday, and there is talk that Tom Cruise is going to be doing a stunt.
Oh, jeez.
Because the next Summer Olympics are in Los Angeles. And so this is the transition. It's going, from Paris to Los Angeles. So they're bringing in Tom Cruise, and is he going to scale down the Eiffel Tower? It's some sort of stunt. Tom Cruise loves his stunts. He loves doing his own thing.
He does his own, right?
Right. And so that's how they're going to transition it from Paris to Los Angeles with Tom Cruise doing it.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah?
Remember when it used to just be about like, hey, I love our country, and you should tune in because it's the greatest athletes in the world competing at a very high level. Now we need some guy getting $9 million and some guy jumping off the Eiffel Tower.
Correct. No, I don't know if that's what he's going to be doing, but it's going to be something.
All right, Mind Your Manners coming up next. Susan Beckwith went to the Kings Island the other day, and there were apparently some people behaving horribly at the Kings Island. We're going to have amusement park etiquette when we come back.
It's 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show. It's here, baby. Beer Sample Friday is on the road today. Our show is live at the Tap Room, the Indiana State Fair. Stop by, hang out with us. We're going to have a good time. 3 o'clock, 93 WIBC.
At Franciscan Health Indiana Blood and Marrow Transplant Program, we treat you like family. Our cancer specialists provide around-the-clock physician access and deliver groundbreaking treatments to face cancer head-on. With over 25 years of experience treating complex blood cancers, we're a top 100 hospital for bone marrow transplants by CareChex and rank in the top 12 nationwide for allogeneic transplant survivals. Visit franciscanhealth.org to learn more and find hope in our compassionate care.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Tailgates are back. This Sunday, go tailgating in the lot at McCarty and Church Street before the first preseason Colts game. Brought to you by Jack Daniels, Twin Peaks, and Bud Light. Enjoy food, beverages, and win some prizes before the Colts-Broncos game from 10 to 1. All ages are welcome. Let's go Colts.
Susan, looks like I'm losing.
Hey, Casey.
Yeah, Rob.
It's that time.
It is. It's Friday.
That time. It's your favorite part of the week. It's Friday.
Yeah, you don't have to see me for 2 whole days. Aren't you
No,
excited?
that's
You
your
must be excited.
That's your thing.
I know.
That's your thing.
But you know what? We say that, but then we still text all weekend.
That's
so
right.
Not really.
And we wrap up the program each week doing the same thing. We send you, our fabulous audience, into the weekend with the tools necessary to be a better, more productive, more decent member of society. We call it Mind Your Manners. And to educate you and inform you, we're not just risking this to any rank amateur or uncertified specialist.
Right, we've got a pro.
Yeah, former Miss Indiana, Susan Beckwith. She joins us now. All right, Susan. So before we kind of get into the moral, the lesson for today, which is how to adapt and be better in decent society, you took your kids to the movies last week. You told us how much that cost. Now, for some reason, I have no idea why. Maybe you just have more money than you know what to do with. You decided to triple down and go to Kings Island. Why did you do that?
We were fulfilling a promise to the kids to go, and we had the best time. It was so hot, as my grandmother would say. It was hotter than blue blazes. It was, 90-plus degrees, but we really had a great day, and I thought it would be a good idea to potentially do a segment on being out in society and sharing some of the faux pas or etiquette faux pas that I saw. Now, I'm happy to only report that there were just two things that kind of stuck out.
Okay, before we get to that, though, you said it was $65 to take two kids and yourself to the movies, right?
Yes, of course, we got snacks and all of that, which is what adds up quickly. But yes, it was very costly, and then Kings Island made that pale in comparison.
What does it cost to take a kid to King? Like, what is it? What's the damage? Any idea?
Oh my goodness! I'm afraid you're going to have an actual coronary, but between tickets and parking and food, it was probably close to $400. Wow.
Whoa! Just three people?
Yes, but then we got fast passes. Because, so I mean, all of that. They nickel and dime you. I mean, food is ridiculous. I mean, I paid over $5 for one bottle of Coke. So it's crazy. It's crazy. It just adds up.
$400 to take two kids and an adult to an amusement park?
Yeah, but did you have fun? Was it worth every penny?
We had the best time, and Brody was finally old enough and tall enough, I guess is a better way to put that, to ride the Beast, which he loved. I think we looked at 60. It goes as fast as 65 miles per hour, which he thought was fabulous and loved every second.
It is America's tallest wooden roller coaster.
I love that one. I didn't get to go on any of those. I was hanging out in Snoopy Land with Miss Savannah, and that's kind of where our first little mishap happened.
Were you line jumping? Were you cutting in line?
Well, you know what? Thankfully, lines were fairly short because it was a Monday, and but we were not. But we were stuck in a line, and there was this little guy, and I was not offended or upset at all. I have children, so I just laughed it off. But we're standing. And I was like, I think he's somehow mistaken my backside as a conga drum. And it was like the most uncomfortable situation because the mom did not acknowledge it. And I was just like, it was super awkward. And so I rotate myself. So I was leaning against the railing. But, that's a good opportunity to remind children that it's good to keep your hands here.
Wait. Okay, so I'm just trying to work this is what we do. It's radio, right? So we gotta create a visual picture here for our audience. So you, Susan Beckwith, are in line with your child to ride, minding your own business, and some other small child proceeds to walk up to you in the rumpular area and start pretending he's John Bonham from Led Zeppelin. Is that correct?
Pretty much. It was just Savannah and I. Micah and Brody were on some bigger roller coasters. So, yeah, I was just standing there, and I was like, oh, okay. And so I turn around, and I know she knew that it happened. And it was, and then it was just really awkward because, the polite thing would have been to say, I'm so sorry. And obviously he's a little kid. I'm not going to be mad. Or, I understand I have small children, too. But it was just like super awkward.
So the mom didn't say anything. The mom wasn't like, hey, Georgie, stop doing that, or you're going to be in big trouble when you get, like, nothing.
Nothing. And so it was just, and then it was like the only line that we were stuck in. And it was like super awkward because we were just having to stand there for the longest time. So anyways, ultimately it was, funny, but I do feel like I'm reminding my children, especially as they started school this week, like, hands to yourself.
I feel like it's something I would have done when I was 5, but I would have known exactly what I was doing, Casey.
You would have been doing it intentionally.
Oh, okay. So that's interesting. So if you're a parent, right, you should definitely tell your kid, do not smack some random woman's backside.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. And I'm trying to figure out how to say this next one in some sort of couth fashion, and it's just not going to happen. So
spill it, girl.
we were in line, and this is Snoopy Land, so like the rides are not crazy.
Yeah.
But I don't know if this junior high boy, I would guess maybe 13, was trying to be funny, and he was saying he was afraid to go in the very last car, and he said, and I have to go to the bathroom, and all of a sudden he goes, and I have to poop, and he like yells it, and I'm like, oh my. So this is a good reminder to tell your junior high boys that talking about needing to go to the bathroom in public with a bunch of people you don't know is not appropriate.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't believe we have to have a segment on this. So far we have said, do not treat random women's backsides like the bongo, and don't shout out loud that you're going to potentially defecate yourself if you don't find a restroom. Like, I don't even know where we at. I mean, we got to like have this conversation out loud, Susan.
I know. That's actually why I'm like, these are real life examples of things that happened to me this week. And so while we cover a lot of basics, hopefully these will spur good conversations with your children and remind them that, hey, these are what's proper and what's not. But it kind of bleeds right into some bathroom etiquette. And we're probably getting tight on time. So
you filibustered the bathroom etiquette again. You did it again.
She does not want to address
2 weeks in a row
at all.
And she's so calm about it. She's like probably like, oh my gosh, look at the time. We're probably
tight on time, so maybe next week we'll get to this. I'm curious, did the boy who was shouting about his need to use the restroom, was he trying to get farther up in line?
I think he was just trying to be funny, and they thought that, announcing that would be hilarious. And so I'm a boy who's 7, and he'll eventually be a teenage boy, and I'm sure that we'll be dealing with all of those jokes. And so and Mike was in youth ministry forever. So like I understood probably where he thought that was funny.
Hey, real quick before I let you go, your husband's got that big debate next week at the state fair, right?
Yes, on Tuesday.
Okay, so I'm going to go. Kev and I were thinking about going and then finding that there's a beer hall over there where I'm going to go see Hammer and Nigel there.
The tap room.
The tap room. Is there etiquette on how much you can drink before you go to the lieutenant governor's debate? Because I want to really whoop it up for Micah after every answer. What's our etiquette on drinking before debates?
Well, I know you'll want to represent the show well, so you'll keep it in check. I'm excited for the day. I haven't been able to get down to the state fair, and I'm looking forward to it. So I think it's at 3:00. And it should be good. I'm
going to see Susan and be like, hey, Susan, I saved you a seat over here. She's going to be doing the thing with her eyes.
I don't know
she puts
you.
Up the blinders.
I don't know you. I think it's more appropriate that Micah not have too much to drink than you, Rob. So I say go for it.
Rob keeps whooping after every answer. Gary Dick is getting very angry. Hey, tell us about your fabulous website, Belle of the Midwest.
Yeah, that's where you can find all kinds of social etiquette topics that we have touched on the show, some that we haven't, so be sure to check it out. It's also a great place to submit your etiquette questions. And then if you don't follow me already on social media, you can find me on Facebook as well as Instagram.
Belle of the Midwest, BELLE of the Midwest. Find it belleofthemidwest.com as well as Facebook. Who would have thought, Casey, you got to tell a kid, don't treat a woman's backside like the bongos.
Hey, Rob.
Yeah.
I have to poop.
Yeah, let's go home.
Thanks, Susan. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. And thank you for listening today. We're going to catch you back here on Monday. This has been Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
People are talking about Window Nation. Their Window Nation customer, Vicky, says, we couldn't be happier. This was a great experience.